Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Stat Boy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, and we are back with the NoDQ review for this week, and I am joined by the A-Team. Starting with Aaron Rift. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you, Virtue?
Good. I have my beanie on. It's 85 degrees outside here in east of Cleveland, but it's about 64 degrees in my condo. That's the way I roll. Greg Cherry, PA Sensation, reigning and defending Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion. What's up?
The longest reigning Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion in history, as Jeff sighs, knowing that the reign continues throughout this tournament. That's, I believe, the next episode is aired later this week.
Single reign.
Single reign, yes. I'm catching up, though.
You know, a lot of people said, Virtue, why don't you go back? No, I did it. Jeff kicked my butt. I'm happy with that. You guys rolled on with it. So quit asking me that. It's their baby. I suck at that. Jeff, how's it going?
It's going good. We're here, Undecided Apparel, here to tape today's show. Pretty much my home away from home when it comes to YouTube now, because it's quieter back here than it is in my own house. Go figure that.
Nifty. So you're at a storefront right now, right?
I'm at the store back. I'm all the way at the back of the store, but yes, the storefront.
You got people there watching you, looking at you?
The employees are literally staring me down right now.
Nice. Well, I'm going to have to bring up some good topics so we can hear them in the background disagreeing with you.
We've got a good lineup here from what you sent me on Facebook, so I'm digging.
Well, we do. And you know what? The first thing I want to talk about is, and we probably have covered this before. So Nia Jax was being bullied by Alexa Bliss verbally heading into WrestleMania. And just like that, with the feud with Ronda Rousey, Nia has become the bully. And I always thought of her as the bully. The bigger girl on the playground always bullies everybody else. And now all of a sudden, because it's convenient for WWE, because of Ronda Rousey being the smiley, bubbly baby face that they want her to be. And you know what, with the Roddy Piper gimmick, I understood when he came out, he always did the Piper smile. But it was, you knew as soon as he got on that mic, he was going to turn into Roddy Piper. He wasn't going to just be like, hi, smile. Like, it's just crazy. So is this insane that WWE is doing something like this with the complete 180? Aaron, I'll start with you. It's driving me nuts. When I see this every week, and I see Ronda not being the badass like she should be, and then Nia going back and forth in Big Show type manner, it's crazy. What's your thoughts?
Well, maybe she'll be the female Big Show when it's all said and done. I think that it really goes to show that WWE doesn't do long-term planning, because if they were going to do Ronda Rousey versus Nia Jax, they would not have done that whole angle with Alexa Bliss. Nia Jax would have been protected for months and months. She tapped out to Asuka less than 3 months ago, and we're supposed to forget about that. So it just goes to show that WWE really did not put much thought into this. It feels like this match was put together at the last minute, and what are they thinking here? I mean, they just signed Ronda Rousey, and you would think that they would have a long-term direction for her, plan out her opponents over the course of 6 months to a year, but instead they're just doing this match out of nowhere, turning Nia heel apparently. For all we know, in a couple of weeks she'll be back to saying she's tired of being bullied and she's taking a stand against bullies. I don't know what to make of it. I think it's very weak storytelling, though. I will say that much. Jeff, what do you think about it?
Could not agree more. It's when I tweeted I was watching WrestleMania this year and said it was a year's worth of planning, people chastised me because we all know WWE is not planning stuff a year in advance. They haven't done that for many years. They literally booked, like Bischoff booked Nitro on the fly as they wrote it. It was going live type shit. It's ridiculous. The fact of the matter is, Nia was portrayed as the victim of bullying less than 2 months ago, going into WrestleMania, and now all of a sudden, because she's the big champion and she's a bigger girl and she can be perceived as such, she's the bully. Because like you said, Virtue, Ronda's the smiling, bubbly, hi, I'm here and I'm still a fan, but I'm trying to be badass Ronda Rousey, and she's not pulling it off because W's not letting her, pull that trigger on Ronda. They're letting her be the victim, which is so stupid. If they wanted to keep Nia legitimate, then, keep her tough but not bullying, and let Ronda be the certified badass, and maybe even make her a bully, because Ronda was always called a bully when she's UFC because she would just beat the crap out of people, like that, and it was done. So I think they had a reversal of fortune on their own selves by booking it this way, and it's going to blow up in their face no matter what happens in Chicago, unless there's a Money in the Bank catch-in, like I talked about. Greg?
See, in the words of one of my good buddies, Chris Ross, dead end old, don't apply logic to wrestling.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, the fact that they're doing this match so quick, there has to be something going on. Because Ronda, I can guarantee you, Ronda will not be a long-term champion from Money in the Bank. If she wins the title, I expect an immediate cash-in. She will not be a long-term champion. That being said, I could be wrong because who knows with how they think. But I really don't. I understand the people saying, "Oh, Nia's bullying." It's like maybe she's showing that she's not afraid of Ronda. Maybe it's not like a full-fledged heel turn, and she's trying to get in her head. I just don't want to say that. I try to go along with WWE's hey, you have to forget about what's happened in the past. But Jeff and I, wrestling trivia champions, we don't forget about the past. It just doesn't happen. And for a lot of the smart marks or whatever you want to call us, watch the program weekly and try and follow along with whatever the hell they're doing this week. We're not going to forget about it. And I think WWE, and this is something I came up with. WWE, I think, needs to become a little more self-aware because they try and forget about what's happened in the past, and they just ignore it. How many storylines, countless, have they just given up on? And it's like, oh, this never happened. Forget about it. It's like
I think they do forget about what happened.
They probably legitimately might. They might forget about what happened because 2 weeks later they're doing something completely different. It's like, oh, this is the direction we're going now.
And I just wanted to say that the last time I think they were really self-aware was that CM Punk pipe bomb promo. That's the last time they actually acknowledged all the frustrations that the fans have about the product. When have we really seen something like that since?
Well, I'm going to ask you guys, what was the highlight of WrestleMania? It was that match, right, with Kurt Angle and Ronda.
Yeah.
So maybe they're aware of that, and hence the instant Ronda push, because that's really the only great thing that came out of WrestleMania. And if they do have somebody scouting the internet, that's what they saw.
The opening match.
There's no great example of WWE not remembering their past, and the fact Coco Beware is in the Hall of Fame. Okay, that's just plain and simple. Just the facts, man. That's just the way it is. So there you go.
Well, talking about the women's revolution, I believe Rousey is overshadowing it. And maybe it's WWE saying this is a women's revolution. They have these 4 horsewomen, all this great stuff that can be, and they don't book a lot of these females properly. That's probably the main culprit. So I'm going to ask each one of you. I'll start with you, Jeff. I want to know your top 3 current, in your opinion, females on the main roster. And do you think Rousey is overshadowing them? And you may say she's one of the top 3. I don't know. Go ahead.
In terms of star power, or in terms of
anything. I mean, you could say you can make promo, match, star power, all of it together.
All right. Based on overall presentation right now, Carmella, Asuka, and Ronda. Because they're getting the most mic time, they're getting the most presentation of anybody, and people are going to say, what about Charlotte, what about Becky? The fact of the matter is, Charlotte and Becky are having a match on Tuesday, and nobody cares. They just kind of threw it out here. By the way, this is happening next week, and nobody really cares. They don't even care really about the women's Money in the Bank match. Yeah, they're building every week, but do you honestly, right now off the top of your head, without having the sheet in front of you, know every person in the Money in the Bank women's match, or the men's match for that matter? No, you don't. I don't, anyway. You know, you have to really think about that. Like, okay, there's so many people that are fighting for what essentially is a top spot, either with Nia or with Carmella on the different brands, but are they really the top person on their brand? No. The top person on the Raw brand for the women's division is Ronda Rousey. The top person on the SmackDown brand is Carmella, but she's also a champion running scared because Asuka's on her tail. So I think that the biggest stars right now in the Women's Revolution are currently on the product are Carmella, Asuka, and Ronda Rousey, and that is a problem for the other, dozen women on the roster. Very, very bad news for everybody.
And I'm gonna change it up because I think Ronda is overshadowing the entire women's revolution. And even though Carmella and Nia are the current champions, they're just out of my top 3. I'm still saying when I look at the overall product of what these females can do, and I'm interested to see what you're gonna say, Greg. Mine are Charlotte, Alexa, and Asuka. And I know based on the last few weeks, maybe that doesn't hold up as well, but they're getting overshadowed by Ronda. Greg?
See, I don't want to say they're getting overshadowed by Ronda because that's not really a fair statement. Think about it. Ronda may have had the best match at WrestleMania, and she's made a few sporadic appearances. She's getting a championship shot. But, in my opinion, she is not overshadowing the entire women's revolution. I just don't see that happening. As far as an overall top 3, right now, I'm not just counting what's happened recently. I'm gonna encompass like everybody, like their work ethic, like their presentation, and all that. And just may stare at me for my number 1. I'm putting Sasha up there for number 1 because week in and week out, whether you love her or you hate her, whether you hate the fact that she retired Paige accidentally. Sasha is still one of the best in-ring workers. When she's given the chance, she can cut a hell of a promo. Number 2, I probably would have to go with Carmella because her entire run as Miss Money in the Bank and now SmackDown Women's Champion, she has showed that she can stand out. She may not be the best in-ring worker of even that brand, even SmackDown, but she can carry her own on the mic as far as presentation goes. And third, I would probably have to put Asuka, even though Asuka has been booked incredibly terribly since coming to the main roster. Even with a Women's Royal Rumble win, she has been booked pretty terribly. But that's my top three: Sasha, Carmella, Asuka.
Yep.
Aaron, and again, I think Ronda is overshadowing. I have a few friends that are casual wrestling fans, not like us, and they struggle to name. And again, this is just a generalization. They struggle to name anybody, but they're like, how's Ronda Rousey doing in WWE? And if they're pushing the women's revolution, shouldn't the casuals know Charlotte, no Alexa, no Asuka? I mean, again, but fair point, Greg. I mean, fair point.
Yeah, those
Aaron?
are fair points. I don't feel she's overshadowing the rest of the women because I personally have been forgetting about her segments on Raw. It feels like she's just there. I feel personally like she's already losing that special feeling that you have when she comes out there, like what Brock Lesnar has. I feel like she's losing that very quickly, and she doesn't feel like a special attraction anymore. So I wouldn't say she's overshadowing the other women. Maybe she should, because she's a star of that magnitude. She should be like Brock Lesnar, where she's a big deal all the time. And it just doesn't feel that way anymore. When she appears on Raw, she just feels like another person on the roster. I think Charlotte is at the top, definitely. I mean, she beat Asuka at WrestleMania, and yeah, she's in the Money in the Bank match, but I feel like she's still at the top of her game when you look at all the different attributes. Even though she hasn't been pushed lately, I think Becky Lynch is one of the best performers they have and one of the most marketable performers they have. And I'd like to see her win Money in the Bank. She would be my personal pick to win it, just so she can get back into the mix. And as far as the third person goes, even though she's cooled off as of late, Alexa was doing great just a couple months ago, and I think she's one of their best performers. So my top three would be Charlotte, Becky, and Alexa.
You're going to keep picking Becky until something good happens with her. I like
Yeah, I'm just going to keep picking her. She's never
it.
going to win. She's like the Matt Hardy circa 2005, where she's more over than her push.
Yeah, and I like Becky. I mean, that's a good philosophy, Jeff.
Have you met Becky at Mick Foley's event a couple weeks ago? She is one of the nicest people, and she deserves everything that should be coming to her. But the fans it seems like they lost their faith in WWE's booking at first. They're like, man, whatever.
You know who none of us mentioned?
They lost their faith in the WWE booking? No!
Right, exactly.
No, nobody mentioned Bayley.
Oh.
I'm not saying. I'm just pointing that out. She was one of the matches she had with Sasha in NXT, and this is where we're at the point where we're not even mentioning Bayley.
Well, that's Greg's point. Greg made the point about Asuka coming up. Nobody that has come up from NXT has been a full-on, sustainable, consistent, dominant performer except for Charlotte and Asuka.
Yeah.
Charlotte and Alexa.
All right, well, so we're going to transition. We're going to stay on Raw. Elias was playing his guitar gimmick again, and what I've noticed is now he's not giving. He starts it, but he's delaying it and pausing it. He's not giving the fans that song. He's pulling them in, and then they get nothing. And I like this. I wish he would have started doing this earlier, because in a day and age where you're supposed to be a heel, insult the crowd, but they want you to insult them and play, sing along with you, I like the teases that he's doing. So I found it interesting with Red Hot Rollins. Everybody knows Rollins is like the hottest thing right now on Raw, probably in WWE. Comes out, Elias powders, doesn't even get to do a segment. This was so awesome when I saw the whole match happen. Rollins took the guitar shot. Finally, Elias got some heat. Yeah. Greg, I want to start with you. I think he's more than just a guitar gimmick. I think this guy is a solid wrestler, and of course, if WWE puts the rocket on him, not like Roman Reigns, but you know what I mean, this guy can be entertaining and get fans or people to hate him. So what is your thoughts on Elias, and is this the right thing? Do you think he'll actually get a shot at Rollins now?
I think they're building to an Intercontinental title match at Money in the Bank, which I think could be a show stealer of the night. The thing with Elias is him coming up, he hasn't had a real feud yet. And that's the problem with a lot of the people that are called up from NXT, and then they're just thrown into random matches, and they aren't given a real shot. And this is the problem I've had with WWE booking for the longest time. And I say, people say, hey, why don't you bring back the Attitude Era? There was one special thing about the Attitude Era that I liked. Everybody on the roster had a storyline. Every single person. Whether it was minuscule, whether it was, kind of a side act, and some of them even tied together. The 99 Rumble, where The Rock helped Vince win, and then came out with the money, and then Mankind stole the money, and that led to their empty arena match. I mean, that is brilliant storytelling right there, and that's one of my favorite combined storylines that work together. But Elias and Seth Rollins, I think, will be a great feud. I think it should go past Money in the Bank, even if Rollins retains, because Elias needs something consistent to go with him.
Yeah, and Rollins is super over right now, and if you want to build Elias as a heel, they're doing the right things. He's not giving the fans that performance, and he just smashed Rollins with the guitar. Aaron?
I enjoyed that segment on Raw, and Greg brought up the Attitude Era. It did remind me of when The Rock would do his catchphrases, everyone would cheer, and then The Rock would say, "This ain't Sing Along with the Great One." Elias doing something very similar here, just telling the fans to knock it off and be quiet and all that stuff. I think there's money in him as a babyface at some point, but I think what I would like to see happen, I would like to see Elias beat Seth Rollins and win the IC title, and then have Rollins beat Brock Lesnar for the Universal title. That's what I want to see personally, but will it happen? That remains to be seen. Jeff, your thoughts?
I would love to see everything you just said, especially for you guys going to Chicago and seeing Elias get his big moment with the championship in the front. But let me bring it back down to earth for a second.
Oh,
okay?
no.
Oh, come on.
No. I'm not gonna shout Elias. I'm not gonna do that this week. Maybe tomorrow on NWO show. Maybe we'll see. Rollins needs the Intercontinental Championship right now. He is building that championship back up to where the Miz wanted to bring it. The title needs him. He needs the title. He is white hot, as you said, Virtue, but it's with the championship proviso. If he loses the championship, loses the momentum, then he's right down the tube again. Now, Elias winning. Elias, what he's doing right now was so good. Monday was so good for both guys because Rollins got himself in the mix with Elias by shooing him away and then breaking that guitar over, as you mentioned in the chat, Virtue, Red Hot Rollins, and just now Red Hot Rollins, is so good for Elias. It gives him a program, and Greg mentioned it. The guys from NXT, girls from NXT come up and they don't have a program. They don't have a set feud that goes through over and over again. Yep. With the exception of Charlotte and Sasha. They had a lengthy feud that went the distance that entire second half of 2016. It was an amazing set of matches. Elias getting the feud with Rollins benefits both guys. It benefits the championship, and it benefits the fans that are watching. They're going, finally, they gave Elias something to do.
Yeah, I mean, and again, we can only hope we're going to beat Money in the Bank, Aaron. So,
there you go.
Yeah, if we leave that show and talk about it, and we can give it close to an A, I will be happy.
Me too.
But I know that's wishing for a lot.
I do have a question though. What's the difference between Red Hot and White Hot, Jeff? Jeff?
White Hot CM Punk in 2011. Right. Rollins, Red Hot is just below that. So Rollins is a pipe bomb away, right, from White Hot.
Yeah.
Or a Universal title went away.
Plus, Red Hot is alliteration. So
if he if he beats Lesnar for the Universal Championship, he'll be White Hot. No question about that.
All right. Thanks for the clarification.
I know. I kind of went both directions there. Sorry about that.
So much for Big Cass and the injury and being in the doghouse, and maybe it was just a 2-week doghouse. He's back, and he's in the mix with Daniel Bryan, and we're probably going to get that match at Money in the Bank. So what's everybody's assessment with this? So the match on SmackDown, it was Joe versus Big Cass versus Bryan. And I heard a lot of people say, oh, man, those Bryan and Joe carried Big Cass. Like, I've just heard a lot of negativity in Big Cass. He can't cut promos, this and that. And I'm just wondering, is he getting a little Roman Reigns treatment because he's a big guy getting a push? Jeff, I want to start with you. To me, Cass is back in the mix, and if he was in the doghouse, he wouldn't be beating up Daniel Bryan with a big boot. So what do you think?
I think if he wasn't in the doghouse, that he was injured, and the fact is he's neither now because he was put in a triple threat match with not arguably, two of the greatest in-ring workers they have on SmackDown Live right now, if not the whole company right now. And, Joe tweeted it out, I've slayed this dragon before. So there's history with Joe and Brian going back to Ring of Honor. We've seen it live, Aaron, you and I. We've seen those guys go at it, you and I. I think it was live at PWG.
Might have been.
PWG can correct me later on that, I'm sure, as they always do with me. But having Cass in there benefits Cass. Does it benefit Brian and Joe? It really didn't matter in the match because Joe ended up making Brian pass out in the cocaine clutch. It's not really the clutch anymore. It's basically a sleeper hold. If Cass had won that match, it'd be a whole different story. If Cass actually got the win in that match, it would have been a different story for me in my eyes. I think Cass is going to have to work a lot harder to get himself still out of the fans' doghouse because people still associate him with Enzo. And I think that's unfortunate because Cass has the potential to be better than he was as Enzo's, muscle. I think Cass has potential. Will he live up to that potential? We'll see what happens at Money in the Bank. I think we are going to get Brian and Cass at Money in the Bank. You guys see it in Chicago, so.
I hate to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
Cass is in the doghouse right now.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
With management.
Well, right, but he was on SmackDown Tuesday and was actually pretty high profile in that triple threat with Brian and Joe, though. So is he still in the doghouse? That's the thing. Is he still there?
But who is that?
Joe, which is what I said. But the fact of the matter is, if he's still in the shit house, they wouldn't have put him in that match in the first place because you got Brian and Joe.
Side review going on.
Yeah, the guy.
I don't think Cass would be put in that match on SmackDown right back against Brian if he really was in the doghouse.
Hey,
right.
You got to get him in the center of the shot, Jeff. He's cut off. You got to get him in the center with you, right in the center.
There we go.
Hey, there we go.
See, somebody mentions Enzo Amore and someone wants to join the video. I mean, I know we're talking about Big Cass. He must have liked the rap video. Greg, I want to ask you on this because you like Baron Corbin.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
Do you see fans' distaste for Cass in the same similar fashion as Corbin?
Well, you know what? I think people are crapping on Corbin a lot quicker than they are on Cass. They're actually giving Cass a chance. They crapped on Corbin almost immediately.
Okay, true. And Greg's a Corbin guy, so you're next.
Oh my.
I'm a Corbin guy. I'm a little upset that he's not doing anything at Money in the Bank, but they probably want to disassociate him from the worst cash-in Money in the Bank history. I mean, they ranked it. WWE ranked the Money in the Bank cash-ins, and clearly Corbin had to be in last because it was the fastest WWE Championship match in history.
And most worthless cash-in and winning of a briefcase in the first place.
I agreed with the briefcase winning. The cash-in was just terrible and did absolutely nothing for him because then Cena beat him at SummerSlam. It's like, okay, well, then Corbin just looks like a complete loser. And even his forgettable U.S. title run. Nobody really remembers that Baron Corbin was the United States champion because, well, the U.S. championship hasn't meant anything probably in about a year.
Right.
But Aaron, you had more. Well, here's the thing, Greg, and that's the Jeff Meacham line. I just think a lot of times, if you're big, if you're almost 7 foot tall, fans are going to, unless you're Braun Strowman, fans are going to almost instantly hate you if you are pushed hard. Is that a fallacy or is that truth?
It depends on the work that the character does. Because the thing with Strowman is he was built as this giant badass who couldn't be hurt. He was built as a monster, and they got over. It probably got over in part, if not fully, due to his feud with Roman Reigns and him beating the crap out of Roman Reigns. It's like, this guy's beating up Roman Reigns. Yeah, we love this guy. And him flipping the ambulance and doing all that other stuff with Roman, which, honestly, probably Roman's best feud of the last several years.
Yeah.
Strowman's, too.
Yep.
It's really on how they're booked. And that Corbin was booked terribly. Cass is booked oddly. I don't want to say terribly yet because it's still too early to determine.
Awkward is a good word, I think.
Yeah, it really depends on how they're booked and how their characters come across. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I hate that they script promos word for word. I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it until they go back to the, hey, we're on Fox. We can say a little bit more of what we want, so we're not going to script every word. Here's point A, point B, point C. Go say what you want.
Greg, you and I and Virtue have all been on the actual indie business itself. Were your promos ever word that for you, word for word, either one of you?
No.
There's never time in Indy for that, never, because it's mostly not. But no, yeah, you'd never. I mean,
yeah,
but
shouldn't do that. Period. He shouldn't.
Even go back to the Attitude Era. You know, you did bullet points, and for the wrestlers that wanted a Russo or whoever was writing it to write it more in depth, they would do it. But most of the time, it was go out and get this story over. And Austin and The Rock and Mick Foley, they went and did that. So, Aaron, what's your thoughts on Big Cass? And at the end of that match, he gave Brian the big boot.
Right.
Was that the last physicality?
Yes, it was.
That was how it was supposed to be, supposedly, with the little guy a few weeks back. I wonder if they said do that to Brian to see if Cass would back off and not do any more, like pummel him. Yeah. It's just funny that was exactly what the supposed McMahon spot a few weeks back was supposed to be. Big boot and end it.
Well, who knows? Because when that happened, I was looking at the time, and usually SmackDown doesn't really have an overrun. It was past 7, and I think that they were just needing to do something real quick. So Cass got up, hit him with the big boot, and then it abruptly went off the air. So it could just be a timing issue also, and they didn't have time to do more with it. But they really didn't need to. You know, Cass just hit him with the big boot, and that was the end of it. I like Cass. I think people are giving him a hard time, and it's not really justified at this point. I think that we need to see how his character plays out over the next several months. I think his promos have been good. I like his music personally. I know some people hate it. I like it. I think the guy has potential to be a big star. I just think it was done a little oddly. I thought Cass should have won the first match, and then Bryan should have won the rematch, and then set up Bryan for The Miz. But they're doing it a different direction. I just don't really know how I feel about Bryan versus Cass again, since Bryan already beat him and has beaten him up numerous times. So that's my one issue with the feud. But overall, I think there is potential for Cass, and I think that we need to let it play out a little bit and see how things go with him.
Great segue, Aaron, because you mentioned you don't know why you're seeing this match again. So my next topic is why. Why is WWE waiting on Miz and Daniel Bryan? And I don't want to hear this SummerSlam bull crap, because you could have a feud with these guys that goes all the way to SummerSlam, where maybe the Miz is over on Bryan the whole time until the big payoff match. White hot from Talking Smack. Bryan is finally cleared to wrestle. They put the Miz from Raw to SmackDown. It's on a silver platter. You push Ronda Rousey right up to the women's title on Raw, but you're going to delay the Miz. And they're in the same building every week. And they're not even confronting each other than that one time when Big Cass came out. Another thing that's driving me nuts, you got to strike while the iron is hot. So, Aaron, I'll start with you. I think it's crazy these guys aren't feuding in a 4-month-long feud. Because these guys can't get stale with these two.
Yeah, I agree with you. They had that big segment on Talking Smack a year or so ago, and I feel like, now that they're both on the same brand and Bryan's cleared, Bryan, one of his first targets should be the Miz. They had that Miz TV segment where Bryan was supposed to be on and he wasn't, and then there was no follow-up after that. So what's the deal here? Doesn't Bryan want to get his hands on the guy that was talking crap about him all those months and doing the yes kicks, doing the Miz kicks to mock him for how long? And there's no follow-up on it. So,
Or the Miz attacking Bryan, the other way, too, just because he's awesome and he's better than Bryan.
He wants to put him back into retirement. I mean, they should definitely be doing that feud ASAP. That's why I thought, okay, maybe Big Cass would be Bryan's first opponent, and Cass would align himself with the Miz, and Bryan would have to go through Cass first. But Cass wins the first match thanks to the Miz. Bryan has to beat Cass the second match, and then you do Miz versus Bryan. Maybe Miz wins Money in the Bank, though. Maybe that'll happen, and maybe we'll have Bryan versus Miz for the WWE title in the near future. Greg, what do you think?
Let Jeff go next.
Okay, Jeff.
I agree with everything both of you said, except Virtue's comparison to Ronda Rousey's ascent. The fact of the matter is, we talked about this, I think, on this show or maybe on one of my shows. They booked themselves into a corner with Ronda because she won her debut match. She can't lose her first singles match unless it's a championship and there's some sort of shenanigans. and she can't, there's nothing they could do with her except put her in the championship match because she's Ronda Rousey. She's a big star. If they have her at any other program going into Money in the Bank except the briefcase match or the title match, it's a waste for her. I'll say that. Now, as far as Miz and Bryan, yeah, they should have put these guys together right away. The fact that they had a Miz TV book with Bryan didn't come out, Cass came out. Aaron is right on the money. It should have been Miz and Cass aligning. Miz and Cass. Blah, say that 5 times fast. I double dog dare you.
At least it wasn't triple.
It's your triple dog dare, exactly. To go against Bryan and Cass still being the big bully guy. Pick on little guy because Bryan was stealing the spotlight from him because he came back the same day. Cass in that story still works, but he's got to be the leader. He's got to be the guy that Bryan has to get to get through to get to Miz. So well booked, Aaron. Well, I applaud that booking. That's exactly the way they should have gone, and they blew it. And now Bryan's already beat Cass. What is the point of Money in the Bank if they have a rematch? And what's the end game? Do we get Miz and Bryan? Does Miz win Money in the Bank? Do we get championship match? The people are just going, ugh. And that's exactly what they want us to do. They want us to think about what's going to happen and not know for sure. That way the smart marks even are like, what's going to happen?
And the reason I wanted you to go before me is I disagree with you guys.
Ooh.
The fact that they're holding off Miz and Daniel Bryan, I think, is a good thing. Because if you get that payoff right away and you essentially just blow it all, the very first pay-per-view you get a chance, you don't get the specialness is the word of the build-up. Yes, it is a feud that is already established. I mean, it goes back to Miz being Daniel Bryan's trainer in NXT, like the old NXT, Nexus NXT. And giving this away on a pay-per-view like Backlash, it would have been forgotten because of how terrible that show was.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well,
and besides, Miz was already booked.
Yeah, but we're not saying Backlash. We were saying like SummerSlam to do Miz versus Bryan, have Cass feud with Bryan, but have the Miz involved in it, and then do their feud at SummerSlam.
Greg, my thing is they're bitter against each other. They should just have a feud, and if they're going to wait for the big payoff, the big feud, they should have some in-passings on SmackDown, even if one goes the other way, to not even really do anything since that in-ring Miz TV with Big Cass. It's crazy.
The thing is, you're giving the WWE writers too much credit.
Yeah, that's true.
But I hope they watch this, and I hope they start doing things like this. Go ahead.
I agree that they should tease it, like they teased the reunion of DX for 3 months. Shawn and Triple H look at each other and walk opposite directions as people are like, oh, DX is coming back, like right after WrestleMania 22. They have to do, if they jump right into the feud, it either has to be a Money in the Bank cash-in on Daniel Bryan, much like SummerSlam 2013,
right?
Or actually, that's really the only way they can jump into a feud with it seeming like a natural thing. Miz wins Money in the Bank, Daniel Bryan, yay, he's a champion again, and Miz cashes in, beats him for the WWE Championship, and Braga said he beat Daniel Bryan and is going to send him back into retirement. That would work. I think that would be fine. But jumping right into a feud right off the bat with him doing his stuff with Cass and Miz doing whatever he's doing, I think that would have been a mistake to go into that right away. Because they want the fans to like, hey, we want this, we want this, we want this. They want build-up. They want the natural build-up from the fans that they want to see it.
Well, I feel like there has been the build-up with Miz doing the yes kicks for all these years, and I think fans have been wanting to see it for a while. And I also feel like, logically, if I was Daniel Bryan, if this was real life and I was Daniel Bryan, I get cleared to wrestle again, the first person I want to fight is The Miz because of all the trash talking he was doing. I look at it from that logical perspective, but I get what you're saying. I would not do that match at Backlash. I would have done it at SummerSlam.
Well, I think the whole thing with Cass being put in there was the fact that, Cass was upset that Bryan got cleared the same day he got cleared, and Bryan overshadowed him, so he was calling Bryan a bully, kind of like the Nia.
That makes sense.
Where Bryan was the bully because he overshadowed Cass's big return. So that program makes sense. I just think, I actually kind of agree with Greg at this point because he made a very good point that kind of made me think a little bit better because it's what you're supposed to do. And that's why you're the champion now and I'm not. There you go. because having Cass have his own program works in the short term, and then making us wait for Miz and Bryan just makes WWE money in the long term in theory.
I would have just simply had both Miz and Daniel Bryan in the Money in the Bank match where they didn't have to feud against each other. Then you could have had big moments in that match. Oh, absolutely. No. Why not? Those two climbing the ladder at the very end of the match, the place would be rocking.
I keep them far apart from each other, especially since Daniel Bryan just got cleared. Why would you want to throw him in a ladder match?
Strike while the iron is hot in wrestling, especially during the time of post-WrestleMania crap. Ratings are down. There is no waiting things out anymore. Seriously. Why is Ronda getting a title shot? Jeff? Because she's Ronda Rousey.
They just made $1 billion from Fox. They could give a shit about waiting for anything.
Yeah, so they're
that said, why not do it? But this is what it's about, opinions.
Yeah, their TV deal between Fox and USA, NBC Universal combined, it's something like $2.45 billion for 5 years. It's an insane amount of money, and today the stock reached $60, their highest ever. Yet their TV rating for Raw was like the second lowest in the modern era.
Well, everybody that's watching this video, everybody that's watching this video, go into the comments. Would you, the NoDQ Galaxy, have liked to see Bryan and Miz both in the Money in the Bank ladder match, just to see? Obviously, there'd be 8 people in the match, so you could do 100 different things. They wouldn't even really have to meet up, but you could have that one moment. I'm just curious on what others think. Cooks in the kitchen, that's what they get for combining. What did Money in the Bank matches used to be? 6?
I know they 6.
Yeah, 6 for the first couple, then they went to 8, and then WrestleMania 6 they did 10, which was
wait till they have one in Saudi Arabia, and it's like,
no, the greatest.
I'm just
no virtue, that's a bad virtue.
Bad virtue. You're giving them ideas now. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
All right. Well, we like on the NoDQ review to disagree. We don't always want to agree because that's boring podcasting or whatever you call this, Aaron. Enzo Amore, and I know we're going to disagree on a lot of this here. So when I watched his rap, he's not a rapper. Okay, Macho Man wasn't a rapper. He sounds like Mystical. Aaron, you won't have a clue, but he was a no limit. He sounds like Mystical on his delivery.
You keep bumping me against the wall. I know his song.
I listened to the lyrics, and he's just riding his fame, and the fact that his charges were dropped, and the consensual penis line. This just shows he's entertaining. He might not be trying to draw you, Greg, or you, Jeff, but he's got a huge fan base because, Aaron, you reported it. New York City. This guy is red hot. And I don't know what he's going to do, but my idea, Impact Wrestling, you want to gain 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 more viewers? Do they have Rich Swann? I believe they do, right?
Yeah, I believe he's
Bring in Enzo and team them up. You want to talk about a controversial team. They don't have to team them up, but Enzo, bring them. If you look at CM Punk, right? He shows up at All In, people are going to be talking about it. Enzo's not there, but the fact that he's drawing people just because of what he says out of his mouth in big cities, bring him. He's not a good worker, we know that, but he's an entertainer, and there are people out there that are entertained. Jeff, I'll start with you because I know you did not like that video. Does Enzo belong in the wrestling business?
I didn't like what the hell you just said, comparing Enzo Amore's return to wrestling to CM Punk's. Are you?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't compare that. But the buzz of CM Punk at an All-In event, right? Enzo, look at New York City. How many wrestlers are going to walk in New York City and have like their fanboys and girls pop like that? That's a huge city. People recognize this guy.
Real recognizes real, right?
Doesn't matter if it's infamous.
Oh my god. Okay.
Here we go.
This is going to get heated. And whatever you and Greg say, man, this might be the most heated NoDQ review right now. I'm asking you this: does he belong in the wrestling business?
All right. The fact of the matter is, you mentioned I'm gonna ask you in the chat here. You mentioned, it means people he's getting what he wants. He wants the attention.
That's entertainment.
He has the people's attention right now because of the controversy. If Enzo was just Enzo and left WWE without any rape charge or anything, nobody would give a shit. Not one person would care that he left WWE for any other reason except the fact that he had the rape charges, and nobody would care if he was on Impact tomorrow or today or wherever the hell.
Nobody. When he was on 205 Live, they were doing their best. The YouTube clips had 5 times the views than all the other Neville guys and people like that. He sucks as a worker, but he got eyeballs. There's proof of it. Go ahead.
That kind of eyeball is not what WWE or even, I don't think any wrestling company out there that has any sort of class or respect for themselves is going to want that kind of eyeball on their product.
Oh, come on.
Well, I think Impact would like any eyeballs, period.
But that was the gist of it, too. I really brought up Impact, not WWE.
Okay. All right. Well, Aaron's right. Impact having any eyeballs on them, other than the lack of eyeballs they're having now, is good for the short term. But having Enzo associated with if I'm running the company, I don't want Enzo anywhere near me physically or emotionally, for that matter.
I'll tell you why I don't want Enzo in Impact Wrestling if I was running Impact Wrestling. Not because he might have that bad attitude in the locker room and might upset people, but the reason if I was running Impact why I would not want him there is because I think he would just outshine the entire company. I mean, charisma-wise, he's on another level from everybody in Impact Wrestling. I mean, he would be by far the most entertaining thing on that show. And I might actually watch Impact Wrestling more if he was on it. I mean, I stopped watching 205 Live when he left. So it is what it is. The guy might be a prick in real life. I mean, there's all these stories about him. Who knows what he's like in real life for sure, but there are the stories that are out there. But as far as having the charisma and personality, I mean, he's at the top, man, in this business right now. He's got the charisma, the personality. He's just not a very good wrestler, and he has a bad reputation. So where he goes from there, who knows?
Jeff, quick. All I wanted, if Enzo didn't get in trouble and he didn't keep the truth from WWE, I saw program building when he was a Cruiserweight champ where I thought they were going to have Drew Gulak kind of, have Enzo turn on him. I was thinking all I want to see at the end of the day is Enzo putting Drew Gulak over as the Cruiserweight champion. And then Enzo leaves, and where's Drew Gulak?
I would have been okay with that scenario.
Sorry.
Greg, help me out here. Please save me from this discussion. Please help me.
Okay, Greg.
First of all, if Enzo got signed with Impact Wrestling, he'd be world champion within 4 weeks because that's their MO.
Well, duh.
Enzo Ray, I don't know the person. Like, I don't know the man behind the character, Eric Arndt, or whatever his real name is. Enzo was a good talker. He was good at cutting promos. He drew people in. He was one of the few people on the roster who didn't get what chance while he was talking because people were drawn into him. That I will give Enzo. And that's as far as I go because he couldn't work a decent match.
But Greg, he could manager bump because he could bump. He could manager bump, so he should have been a manager.
Yeah, I could bump. Put me on Raw,
But it's a lost start.
Live, I'm above
that. That's a lost start. You know that.
It is.
It is. I mean, that's the problem. Why was a manager in the Indies? Like, I tried to get my guy over. It's harder than it looks, believe me.
It is. It very much is.
And Enzo, I think, should stay away from the wrestling business, if not for good, for a long time. Because him going right back in, like that rape charge, even though it was dismissed, doesn't really matter. It's going to follow him like a black cloud. And it's not going to be a good thing for him or his brand. The rap video, I watched it just because of research purposes.
Million views.
I don't know.
I was one of them. I'm sad to say now.
He's the definition of polarizing at the level that Roman Reigns is polarizing. He's polarizing. Enzo's the right type of polarizing. Does that make sense? Because he'll take the negativity and find a way to make money. I mean, that's what he's doing. Who would have thought he'd be a rapper? I didn't.
He's
well, he's not, but you know what I mean.
In a rap video doesn't mean he's a rapper.
But I mean, still, it's getting something. It's draw. I mean, in 2 days, it's got 1 million views. That's sick. That's not like us trying to do it, you know.
Wrong kind of heat, wrong kind of attention. I mean, people say, "Oh, any press is good press." Not in this case, my opinion.
Well, I'm going to be following this like a hawk, and if he shows up in the wrestling business, you guys are going to probably block me out of the private chat. All right, is everybody?
I'll do a private chat. Comes up. You'd be surprised what I can do.
You guys are going to love this. I designed this main event for you guys today.
Yes.
I want to talk because Aaron, we're going to be at NXT Chicago.
Yep.
We're going to get to see a Gargano and Ciampa match, correct?
Yes, sir.
I'm actually excited for this. This is a feud that has been going on for a very long time, thanks to the injury to Ciampa.
Right.
That extended, obviously. Unintentionally, I think it gave it more heat because it built it up. The fans saw that initial turn, then all of a sudden, Ciampa's injured. What I noticed, I saw some sheet leak where I don't know if it was a real sheet from NXT, but Jeff, you might know this. Terry Taylor's producing in NXT, correct? And we know Sean's down there.
I believe.
I think Terry Taylor's heavily involved with the producing of these matches and feud with Ciampa and Gargano, and even HBK. I think HBK's maybe helping Ciampa how to do. This is what we need in wrestling, and I get that these guys are in NXT helping the young talent because NXT is developing the stars for the next level. But, I mean, if it's working like this down there with this great feud, have Taylor and HBK do it on the main roster. This, to me, is an incredible – the heat is so thick. I can already feel it, and I'm not even in Chicago at the Allstate Arena yet. Aaron, am I overreacting to this, or is this to be hyped about? To me, it's going to overshadow anything that weekend.
I think NXT is going to be a fantastic show. I'm really looking forward to, I think even more than Gargano and Ciampa, I'm really looking forward to Velveteen Dream and who's the other guy? Ricochet, yeah. That match
that's definitely Shawn Michaels. He's definitely producing that one.
Yeah, that match, I think, has a lot of potential. And John Cena actually recently was asked about which guy he would like to face, and he said Velveteen Dream. I think that guy's got some real star power. He's really shining in NXT. So I'm looking forward to that show. And as far as the build-up and the storylines in NXT, I mean, they are somewhat different because NXT is Triple H's project, and, of course, Raw and SmackDown, that's Vince's project. And I don't really think we're going to see what we see in NXT on the main roster anytime soon, if at all. Even with Vince out of the picture, I think it's still going to be the same. I think Triple H and Stephanie are going to keep the format of Raw and SmackDown as it is with very few changes. Just how I see it. Jeff, what do you think?
First of all, yes, Terry Taylor and Shawn Michaels were both producing NXT, but you got to remember, who'd you see most on Triple H's most recent biographical DVD? Terry Taylor, Shawn Michaels. Because Terry Taylor helped bring Hunter along in WCW and really, work with him in the power plant when he was coming up to WCW. And, of course, Shawn's Triple H's best friend. So those two guys are going to be ideal for helping Triple H shape his vision of the future. And, Terry Taylor is great. If you don't believe me, just ask him. He'll tell you himself. Terry is very good at things like this. He's good at producing. Was Terry ever over as a worker? Not really. I mean, in the Carolinas and the Crockett, yeah, of course he was, but everybody was over in Crockett. But Terry's doing a really good job, and so is Shawn Michaels, and this feud is the feud that everybody's talking about right now. I actually just watched this week's NXT and last week's NXT back-to-back in preparation for this show, because I knew we were going to talk about Gargano and Ciampa. Just watching those 2 weeks alone, you feel white-hot heat I talked about earlier.
Yep.
Two guys have that white-hot, all-in Chicago feel because they are two independent stars that happen to be under WWE banner now. And they're having think about it. The turn of Gargano against Ciampa was in what building last year?
Chicago.
And did they have Candice? Candice is involved with this a little bit. I saw her get bumped a couple times. Bravo.
She Gargano kind of like threw Ciampa out, and he landed all over his wife. She sold it like.
She takes bumps from dudes. She's been doing that for years.
Yep. Aaron and I saw Candice coming before Candice did. I think she was amazing at PWG as a manager back then. Tornado would beat the crap out of her on a weekly, monthly basis. It just She's so good. And the fact is, they let her bump in this, and now she's taking herself out of the equation. Like, I can't watch Johnny become this person. So now it's going to be Johnny Gargano, 100% turned loose, 100% ready to die in battling Ciampa. And Ciampa is this evil persona who is, bringing his dark side out week after week after week, and he is going to fight to the death with his former best friend. This is going to be the match of the weekend. It may be the match of the year if things hold up.
Jeff, are they saying on NXT that they're acknowledging that Candice is Johnny's wife or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I know you. I know I'll probably get a lot of disagreements with it. You know what I'm thinking, don't you? Oh God, it's on a silver platter. It's just on a silver platter. I know it's not the Attitude Era. I know it's not Edge and Lita. I know. I look at it from a TV, movie, television show drama perspective, and it's lost. It's lost in wrestling.
If you'd asked me about the Candice LeRae I knew 10 years ago, I'd say, no way she would ever do that with Johnny. But you know what? Strange things have happened.
They're all friends, though. Johnny and Ciampa. It's not like it's Edge and Lita and Matt. You know what I mean?
DIY wasn't a team because they were best friends. They had the match at the Cruiserweight Classic, and they were friends then. And they've become better, closer friends with this feud. So, strange. If it happened, it would not completely surprise me.
Wow. Anyway, Greg.
You
went off in the weeds there. Sorry about that.
That's fine. I could actually see that happening. Shawn Michaels producing, it actually puts me in mind the Shawn Michaels Chris Jericho feud of 2008 between these two. And with Shawn producing it, maybe that's kind of why it puts me in mind of that. And granted, Jericho punching Shawn's wife Rebecca in the face is different than Tommaso shoving Gargano into Candice, because Candice has taken thumbtack super kicks to the face, and Shawn Michaels' wife was a Nitro girl. So vast difference. But I could see if this was the Attitude Era, or even like slightly after the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, I could see Tommaso and Gargano fighting, and I could see Tommaso like hitting Candice with like a kendo stick or something. And she'd probably take it. She'd probably be fine with that. But unfortunately, in the era that we live in, we can't get that like extra thing with Tommaso being super heel attacking the wife. Yeah. Because that would just add to the story, and Gargano would probably want to try and kill him more.
But what if we do? What if Triple H goes, you know what? Go for it.
You know what? In NXT, I could see it happening. Raw and SmackDown, it probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah, all bets are off.
Well, Seth Rollins bumped into Stephanie into the table at WrestleMania. It's not like they haven't done little things. I know.
But this is also Candice LeRae we're talking about. Stephanie McMahon has never taken any serious bumps like that. You know what? I could probably see it happen, because that would just add to the match so much. If Candice is like, no, stop, like hitting him, and then Ciampa just smacks her in the back, and Gargano like wakes up and snaps on him and just makes him bleed. If I was booking this,
the plot's gonna thicken, because I've been talking with some other people, and they also suggested, could Candice turn on Johnny? I know we can say no, dumb. People have thought about it.
Could happen.
Like I said earlier, if you'd asked me about Candice LeRae 10 years ago turning on somebody, probably would never happen. But she's evolved a lot as a performer. And by the way, before Aaron starts, PWG, I think it was 2000, either 10 or 11, Guerrilla Warfare, GUER, Guerrilla Warfare, the Bucks, Young Bucks versus Joey and Candice. Look that match up and just sit there with the bludgeoning that came
talking about that.
Now, Jeff, I need to ask you, who's been in NXT longer, Gargano or Ciampa, or have they been in the same amount of time?
They both came in after the Cruiserweight Classic, I believe.
Yeah, I'm just wondering who's going to get called up first and who's going to stay in NXT, or are they going to be called up at the same time?
Call them up at all. Let them be.
They're going to get called up sooner than later. I'm just wondering how this ends, and I think there is a possibility we could see Candice turn heel and join up with Ciampa in the storyline. I would not rule that out, because I sense Ciampa's going to win the feud. Gargano won the previous match, and I sense Ciampa's going to win this next match. So how does he win it? You got to have something shocking happen. So.
And he was out a while, Aaron. So if Johnny gets called up first, maybe Ciampa's NXT life is longer because he missed so much time.
Great point right there. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And Gargano goes to Raw or SmackDown, and Ciampa, and keep in mind, Candice hasn't been there that long, so she's probably going to be in NXT a bit longer. So maybe her and Ciampa will form a unit in NXT for a while, and then eventually they'll get called up as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure Candice wouldn't be upset with Johnny making main roster money. You know what I mean?
Imagine, though, you talk about white hot, the people in Full Sail would just want to destroy Candice LeRae if she turns on.
Well, and if it happened in Chicago, and that's the breeding ground of craziness.
Yeah.
But in real life,
a plan or something like that.
In real life, if you're Johnny Gargano, would you like this storyline, though? I mean,
it's acting. I mean, I get what you're saying. It's not like you have to make them make out. It's not an Edge and Lita. I'm not suggesting Edge and Lita Matt.
They always do that, when sometimes real life imitates fantasy.
Well, let's pretend they don't go there, and if they turn Candice heel, it was just more of like, I'm managing Tommaso because he's going to be better than you, Johnny. But again, they played that they're husband and wife. That's why it's a little far-fetched. So, Greg, I'm more in lines with the bump. Let's just see the bump. Let's just see her get bumped, Yep. That's all I got. Anybody else got anything else, or we'll wrap it up?
Well, just the fact that Greg made the point about the bump, and I kind of went in all of them, is it just, if they were to do that, think of the pops we get out of the crowd when the very rare thing happens where a guy bumps a woman. Oh my God! The people, if Ciampa took a swing at her, either with his hand or with a weapon, the place would pop the roof off.
Does that go against though their PG? That's why I keep thinking it would be the accident type, like when Jericho hit Rebecca.
I think Hunter would be the mindset. It's the PG era in this match because it needs that degree of heat on it.
Yeah, NXT is its own little entity, so maybe they feel they can get away with it with that show.
PG-13. PG-13.
It's geared towards those more hardcore fans rather than the casual families that watch Raw and SmackDown.
Yep. Well, we will see. So with that said, Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion, what do you got to tell everybody?
Just check out the tournament because whoever wins that is going to fall to me in the season 4 finale. And you can go to ProWrestlingTees.com/PA Sensation for my store. I got 4 shirts up there, guys. Go get them.
Nice. All right. And when I said Wrestling Trivia Challenge champion, Jeff, I almost thought you were going to start talking. Go ahead.
That's been forever ago.
Post.
Anything?
They beat me in retirement. What can I say? I'm happy to be on the sidelines watching Greg kick some serious ass, and hoping this tournament guy just realizes what he's in for. You can check out my Twitter and Instagram @ Jeff Meacham. You can go to Facebook and Instagram, Undecided Apparel, one word, Undecided Apparel, to check out the guys that make the Talk Wrestling shirts, Talk Wrestling, the NoDQ hats, and they're here in Canyon Country. Let me give the address here right in front of me. 19347 Soledad Canyon Road here in Canyon Country. 91351 is the area code. The zip code, area code 661-310-3700. You can check them out. Give them a call. They made the NoDQ hat for me. They made the original Talk Wrestling shirt before Pro Wrestling Tees realized it was cool to make a Talk Wrestling shirt. They made it here. So there you go. And just come on into the store. I'm here. I'm probably going to be here to do Talk Wrestling Meacham Musings live on Tuesday and Thursday. So at worst, you'll come in here and see me make an ass of myself twice a week. So there you go.
Nice. Aaron Rift.
All right. Well, I just wanted to say that there are a lot of guys that have challenged Greg over the past several weeks, and they talk a lot of trash. They're like, oh, I know all these answers to these questions. And then when we do the trivia match, Greg has destroyed them. So, guys, if you're wanting to challenge Greg, you really have to know your stuff. And I mean really know your stuff, because Greg is the real deal. He beat Jeff.
We need a woman challenger. I know we're 95% male audience. We really do need a woman challenger. Would you accept if there was a legit?
I tried to get Rachel on the show, and she said she wanted to do it, but I don't know if you've talked to her or not, Aaron. Rachel said she wanted to do it. I think of all the people that you've had challenge me, if Rachel came on the show, she'd give me a challenge.
Aaron, let me ask you a question. Aaron, how much is a premium Spotify account, give or take?
$15?
Okay. So you're spending $15 on a Spotify account and $9.99 a month on a one-time $15, right? $15 one time.
For what? Spotify?
Spotify, right?
That's a month. It's a month.
Okay, so $15 a month for Spotify, $10 a month for WWE Network. You're spending $20 a month. That's how you know the answers to the trivia challenge. You watch WWE programming and the history of wrestling, and you listen to Spotify, kids. That's how you beat Greg. Right there.
.com awards section. It's on there.
Yeah, you go to NoDQ.com.
Those three things will bring the championship to your house, people.
Yeah, you got to go to NoDQ.com and do your research on the year-end awards. People know. People complain, oh, you're favoring the guys that work with NoDQ.com, but it's public information.
We've been using those awards questions.
Right on the pipe. It is a no DQ show. What do you want?
Yeah, people should know by now. But anyways, check out NoDQ.com/shirts to pick up some NoDQ.com t-shirts. If you buy 5 right now, you actually get 25% off your entire order. So stock up on the shirts.
Yeah, it starts Friday. It goes through the weekend.
Okay.
Do that.
Yeah, pick up the PA Sensation shirt, pick up the Talk Wrestling shirt, the Virtue shirt, and maybe an Interstate Kyle t-shirt. Show him a little bit of love. And visit NoDQ.com/Greg, NoDQ.com/Jeff, NoDQ.com/Virtue, and AaronRiff.com, and NoDQ.com. That's all I got, Virtue.
All right. Well, everybody knows you can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. If you live near Cleveland, this Saturday, June 2nd, doors open at 6, bell at 7. UXWA presents Straight Outta Cleveland, and Virtue's Rage. Virtue's Army is going to be there. Greg playing the manager role like only we can do. Yeah, come check us out. You can still get pre-sale tickets, $10. $10, and they're great seats at the nice little church gym. We hope to bring a couple hundred people in there. So go to my Twitter, my social media, like NoDQ.com/Virtue. All the info is there. So for Greg Cherry, for Jeff Meacham, for Aaron Rift, I am Virtue. See everybody next week.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Scan the QR codes to see what's upcoming for FTW Productions and what's available on demand right now. Owen the Talkinator Studios series premiere of Owen and AJ Talks. Welcome to the FTW family, Zero Miller. Shared experiences re-airing on the new FTW main hub. All Retro Wrestling Review Series videos on demand and upcoming. The Wrestling Rundown makes its return, available now on demand. Fantasy Booking Series video, If Goldberg Stayed in WWE in 2004. Pride CAW Supercard by Zero Entertainment. All of A Simple Man's Brand Simply Predicting panels. Both episodes of The Don DeMarco Show. AEW Spark, WWE Aftershock, every show week by week. Indy Force Episode 26, available now on demand. Jeff Meacham Network, all watch-along events. AEW Double or Nothing Dynamite Go Home Show Watch Party, available now on demand. A Simple Take, WWE Simple Takes featuring Casa D18 Studios. Super Mario Bros. Z voice acting, Episode 3 coming soon. Breaking news, ATW View Impromptu. WYW Intro and Immortal Stream. Wrestling with Idiocy Episode 8, Fast Food and Restaurants discussion. Plugs have concluded. On to the video.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Jeff Meacham Network. The Jeff Meacham Network's Multiverse of Media. For over 15 years, the recognized symbol of excellence and the standard bearer in coverage of sports and entertainment.
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like, who
wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
Well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host.
you could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
The Renegade, JJ Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am the founder. We'll call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it! The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the He-Man, James Hebert.
Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies! There you go! It sells itself!
God.
Get in there!
Short his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ, give it time.
Now, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that...
Dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
Well, we saw that one.
Longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to... No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen!
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So I've...
It's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine.
That's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
We had it on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the fan goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, bloody brilliant.
Welcome back, everybody. We are now into the open mic night portion of our night. I tried to unmute you guys, but wouldn't let me. So I don't know if you guys muted yourselves or whatever the case may be.
I'm all set.
There we go. Very good. So, what a hell of a pay-per-view from Ring of Honor. Congrats to everybody involved there. JJ, did you get to watch the whole stream by chance before I give you the big introduction?
No. We caught the beginning part of it. We got to see your guys' coverage of the Claudio match.
Okay.
And then we decided to watch a movie so I could do a little bit of my homework.
That
and
makes
then
sense.
get back in time for the main event, pretty much.
Got it. Okay. Well, so hi, hello, CC. Good to see you as well. But before we get to the big introductions, I was trying to tell you guys as we were going off the air for the Ring of Honor part of the show, but didn't get a chance to. Tonight's stream is now in the top 5 all time on the Jeff Meacham Network reviews. So, congratulations, boys.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
Oh my
We're almost
gosh.
at 1,000. So, for what it's worth.
1,000 viewers total. That's
1,000
crazy.
views total. We're only trailing WrestleMania Night 1, Forbidden Door, Talk Wrestling back in May, All Out last year, NWA 73. That's it. Everything else is behind tonight.
Wow.
So, well done, boys. Now,
Ladies and gentlemen, the Jeff Meacham Network, your home for all pay-per-view coverage.
Yeah, and despite what I said at the beginning of the year, that would not be a thing. Shows you how much a hypocrite I truly am when God drop money, can bring it back next week, right, Roddy?
You know, when you get all your chess pieces into the proper spot, it just flows.
Yep.
And over the course of this year, we've gotten all the chess pieces in the proper place to where the pay-per-views just come off seamlessly, you know. You've got Noah and James on pretty much everything that's not WWE. You've got Noah on everything, including WWE. You've got me coming in now these last couple months, stepping in and doing the color on the WWE stuff. You've got this core for open mic night. You know, everything, all the pieces have just positioned themselves perfectly on the chess table.
Yes.
And that's why you've got the success you've gotten tonight. Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah.
And next, welcome
For real.
to our almost every pay-per-view tradition of Open Mic Night, because we're not doing next Sunday because it's Sunday night 31st, and my ass is going to be dragging after being emotional about Ric Flair retiring again. So, y'all forgive me.
Yeah.
But it is Open Mic Night. Of course, welcome back our play-by-play man, the simple man with the spectacular voice, Noah Foster, the most foul-mouthed, filthy-mouthed guy in the history of the channel, James Hebert, who he's not the only one, though, because between the two of these yahoos and one from me, we are currently at 8 tonight. So there is that. There is that.
And here we go. I'm about to give you your number 9. You know it's a fucking good match when Noah says it.
That's right.
I actually did say it. I had a break. I actually did say it.
There we go. F9. There we go. F9. We're almost as high as the Fast and the Furious count now, except we don't want to go any further. If
We're
we can help it.
almost at Wardlow's finisher levels.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm sorry.
Wardlow's
Former finisher.
Once we get to the 10th F-bomb, it's got to be F-bomb 10 part 1 and then part 2, just like they're doing with the Fast Saga.
And JJ, there are actually 5 topics. I forgot to bring one up in the.
Oh, Jesus.
But
we were trying to do a short show tonight and then do more on SummerSlam.
Hey, it's all good, brother.
You're
It's all
killing
good.
me, Smalls.
I am. That's okay. So
And
with that
there's a
being
lot for
said-
the ride. And shout out to the core group commenters, including but not limited to my fellow Ohioan, Josh Mansfield. And thank you, everybody in the chat that's been tuning in, whether it's tonight or along for the ride at any time. We just hope you always have a great time.
You know what,
comment
Mansfield?
bombs do not count.
You know what, Mansfield? You need to stop stealing my quote. You can't even put me over on commentary. I saw your comment earlier about these two doing the commentary on matches.
What about JJ?
You got to stop using my quotes, Mansfield.
You got copyright infringement, royalties. Get the royalties.
Cut the shit, Mansfield.
Oh,
the freaking Cleveland Browns love has gone to his brain. Anyway.
Whoa.
I'm not part of that world. Don't worry about that. I'm not part of that
world. It's almost time for the
world
coming off in a hurry. That's right. That's right, Josh. You're in my world, and Jer's going to get his world rocked in 8 days. I can't wait to see it. Anyway, with that being said, along with the lovely Cece at his side, let me turn everything over to our moderator, the Renegade himself. And if you're going to excuse my ass, spell my name right, dumbass. J. Williams. There you go. Very good. With the RVD post, because you have to. There you go. All right, very good.
All right, then.
Hey, Cowboys hit them boys tonight. The Briscoes are them boys tonight. So
them boys are literally them boys. They're the only boys.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So, JJ, since you don't know the first topic, even though you're the moderator, I'm supposed to prep you on this shit.
Yeah, right? I knew. Okay, that I wasn't expecting that to be the first topic. I expected we were going to come into the ROH topic. Off of the ROH pay-per-view.
Okay, well, then we'll do that.
But there we go. Because it's the perfect segue. We just got done with the pay-per-view.
Right.
What is the broadcast future for Ring of Honor?
Yeah.
You know, when is Tony Khan going to finally make that blockbuster announcement that ROH has a TV deal? And what should Ring of Honor television be? This is a topic that was actually brought to us last week by James. He wanted to cover it, and we asked him to table it so that it would make more sense coming off the pay-per-view.
Right.
But was it going to, or is ROH going to be basically like a developmental? Is it going to be its own standalone roster? You know, what are we going to do with Ring of Honor? And being probably the least educated on the ROH product in the room here, I feel I'll go first and then I'll throw it to James since this was his topic. But I feel like there's enough people on the AEW roster, considering how Tony's gone out there signing everybody. I feel like there's enough of a Ring of Honor core on the AEW roster that if they just plucked those guys and put them on a ROH television show, that they'd have a decent product. And then they could also go and try to do what WWE attempted to do with the WWE CW and put people in there that maybe weren't ECW originals but fit that vibe. You know, like they tried to put Punk in there. They put Christian in there. They put Regal in there. By and large, those guys definitely were not ECW originals, but with their work rate and their abilities, and especially with Christian and Regal being able to mentor some of the people coming through there, they had like that potential.
Yeah.
That's what I think that they should do. You know, you've got Bryan Danielson, you've got Claudio Castagnoli, you've got CM Punk, you've got Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal. These are all guys that really cut their teeth in Ring of Honor.
Right.
You take those guys and you put them in ROH proper. And, you know, since Tony has his Forbidden Door thing, you can have them cross over to AEW Broadcasting, but you put all those guys over there and then you just round out the roster with other guys that have that same style. That's my thought about it. James, this was your topic. Take it away.
Personally, while I agree that you should have some star power to get Ring of Honor some eyeballs, not for nothing, they were #1 trending in the world tonight, and they just broke all kinds of pay-per-view records Ring of Honor wise. So I
And
don't
rightfully
know.
so.
I don't think that's going to be an issue now. I think they have enough star power to, basically just stick with what they have. Everybody that was on the last 2 Ring of Honor shows under the Tony Khan era, have them on contract, put them there. But what I also think you should do is you should put in some of these young guys. I'm talking about people, like Anthony Ogogo, who barely gets any TV time, and he should, because the guy's actually really damn talented. Guys like him, or especially for that type of style, I feel like that could work really well to a guy like him. Lee Moriarty's another one. Leon Ruffin, Matt Seidel. There's a lot of guys that could kind of go into Ring of Honor and make it a standalone brand that could also be young talent. Even a Dante Martin. A lot of people would be like, "Oh, well, he came into AEW and he's never been in the Ring of Honor." But who's to say you can't put him in Ring of Honor? He had a great match with Lee Moriarty. Put a guy like that in there, you got a really good, high flyer for your roster. I'm not saying make everything, with Ring of Honor AEW light, but, I think that you need a mix of, they already have the star power aspect. That's already kind of taken care of. You kind of also need to, balance it. Because you need those young guys. You need that's basically the whole idea of Ring of Honor is the future of the industry. That's what they've been for years. They've been the standard bearer of that for, I don't even know how long now at this point. Case in point, tonight we saw some young guys, make names for themselves before the actual main show. And even then there were some names in there, like, women's wrestling probably had the best match to date with Mercedes Martinez and Serena Deeb, and stuff like that. So they need a balance. I think they have I think they already got the top guy part out of the way, the star part out of the way. They again broke all kinds of pay-per-view records according to them. So I can't wait to see what the future holds. But if it were me running Ring of Honor, I'd kind of mesh the two together, make it a big time feeling show while also making it a breeding ground for future stars.
Noah, your thoughts?
Well, and to echo the sentiments of James, I definitely agree. I think about women. I'd like to see maybe Sky Blue be a part of this, or Diamante, for example, too. Ring of Honor can literally be its own breeding ground for the industry, for the future of professional wrestling. Because honestly, aside from Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor has been that for the last 20 years. Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW light. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree. Now, when it comes to these big shows, and you have these maybe crossover storylines to a degree, yeah, that makes more sense. But based on what I saw with the likes of Anthony Henry, JD Drake would be a great tag team. You got the Workhorsemen. You brought back the Shinobi Shadow Squad. You brought back what's his name? Khan from Shane Taylor Promotions. Alex Sane, Blake Christian, Tony Deppen, 3 great prospects that could be great for Ring of Honor as well. There's a balance of youth and experience that could work here to redefine the Ring of Honor structure going forward to be its own standout product and to present itself differently than AEW. When I think about AEW, we do talk about being a buffet for everything. You kind of could think that Ring of Honor was this too, but for me, Ring of Honor was more of a focus on the pure basics, fundamentals that evolved in professional wrestling too. You get more of that downward tradition from Ring of Honor versus AEW, where it's more maybe showcasing at times, because you got to think about the speed and the type of athleticism that we see there. It's rare that we see like traditional matches like the ones you look from a Christian Cage, for example. You got several of those examples tonight here at this Ring of Honor pay-per-view. From the get-go in the opener, per se. A lot more mat-based versus just, physically or flashy. So again, I feel there is a way for both to stand out, and there could be a balance where you have star power, but you also have leadership and those that put over younger talent too. With the likes and the fact that William Regal was involved in 2 matches on commentary, William Regal being a brainchild guiding Ring of Honor, that writes itself, because now the beginners for a period of time, got to Ring of Honor in their earlier days, back when he was not only wrestling, he was managing. William Regal, though, he later at this point could manage Ring of Honor for the rest of his life, and that could be the last part of his legacy. And with people like Claudio Castagnoli and the respect and the experience that he brings, and the youth and growth in the likes of Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta, he's already got a hell of a foundation to begin with. As far as women's side goes, if he can get Deeb and Mercedes Martinez under that umbrella too, you already got your pillars to start the Women of Honor division and Women of Honor, Ring of Honor too. And Willow Nightingale, if she's not first ballot signed to the Ring of Honor roster, I'll be shocked at this point. So I do think there's a way that both can stand out and be presented in their own way. It just comes down to who leads it, who they chooses to guide it, and where they choose to present it.
Yep.
Jeff, any final thoughts on this topic?
Great timing, I appreciate that. Give me time to load the graphics in for the end of the night. I agree with everything everybody said except for ROH being developmental. I think they showed tonight that
they are not that.
They're not that, and
No.
I think they showed everything that was wrong with NXT being promoted to more than and then being forced to regress to them. Like Ring of Honor showed tonight, and it showed in April Supercard of Honor. They are beyond that. What I would do, and this is just my own 2 cents here, is I would keep Dark and Elevation in place, have those be developmental shows like NXT was when it first started, and it evolved into beyond being a competition show. It became developmental. Have it be internet exclusive, and I know everything's internet exclusive these days, so let me just be clear, like free TV, YouTube or whatever, and have as much as people like Rampage, and that's wonderful. For right now with Ring of Honor, leave it 1 hour and have Rampage be the Ring of Honor showcase every Friday. That's what I would do. That's what I would do personally. Other than that, everybody was spot on. Couldn't have said it better myself, and that's good because my throat hurts like a muck feather anyway. So
I'm still not sure why I have a voice.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the only issue with that is that they're not going to give up that Rampage slot solely to Ring of Honor. I'd imagine they're going to try to get some sort of streaming deal, which is why we didn't hear anything yet. We would have heard it by now. I assume they're still working out the last minute details with
James,
HBO, True TV, or whoever.
Yeah, and consider this, James. The post-media scrum's going on right now, too, and we all know that Tony Khan takes up a lot of time.
Yeah, there could be breaking news that breaks on that press conference. So if there is, you'll probably hear it here because I have that on in the background as we speak. So
good deal, James. Good deal.
Jay, let me apologize to you. I, for some reason, didn't think about the fact that the number 2 topic was what I brought up. I put that as Wardlow and Cassie in my head, not the person we're talking about. So my apologies for the graphics screw up earlier.
Yeah. Ooh, good Lord Almighty! All I have to say is honor is real. What a phenomenal pro wrestling pay-per-view.
Yes. So we do indeed have 4 topics. I just brain farted.
Okay, no worries.
All right.
So if there's nothing else to be said about the ROH topic, we'll move right along to the AEW topic of the evening. And that is Road Dogg's comments on the Wardlow versus Orange Cassidy match.
Oh, here we go.
Basically saying, I wasn't a fan. It took him 18 minutes to defeat Orange Cassidy. First, they give him the jabroni title. It doesn't mean nothing when he was a guy that seemed like he was the guy. And maybe he is in the future. I just don't think you needed to give him that other than the best title, and then it took him 18 minutes to beat the jokey guy. Now, to put in perspective some of what he's talking about here, because this is only a partial transcript of his quote, he went on to talk about how Wardlow beat the piss out of like 10 or 12 security guards in like 3 minutes who were the same size as Orange Cassidy.
Right.
And then it takes him 18 minutes to beat Orange Cassidy.
Right.
That's the comparison that he was making initially, is that he's able to beat like a dozen guys in under 3 minutes and just squash them. But when Orange Cassidy comes out there with his hands in his sweatpants and does his little nonchalant kicks, it takes him almost 20 minutes to defeat him.
Right.
I think Road Dogg, I love Road Dogg to death.
Yes.
I've been a Road Dogg fan since I got into wrestling summer of 98. But I really think he needs to take a step back and examine the business, because I do enjoy Orange Cassidy a lot. But if you think about Goldberg, and I know how much Jeff loves Bill Goldberg, he was the United States champion before he became the guy. Ultimate Warrior was the Intercontinental Champion before he became the guy. Both those men won the world title while still being the mid-card champion. Who's to say AEW is not going to go on the same trajectory with Wardlow and have him not be defeated for the TNT title, but then beat whoever, Moxley, Punk, for the AEW World Championship? And have him be the guy that holds both of those belts simultaneously, to the point where he has to forfeit the TNT title because he's now the world champion. You know, I mean, is Orange Cassidy's shtick silly? Absolutely. But that's what endears me to him, because I just think it's so freaking hilarious watching him get into the ring, hands in his sweatpants, and just doing these kicks that faze nobody.
Right.
It's all entertainment, Brian. It's like, come on, you've got to sports entertainment.
Yes.
As much as we want to believe that AEW is the alternative and they are more pro wrestling, Orange Cassidy is a prime example of sports entertainment.
Working.
That doesn't mean that we still can't love him, but he is very much sports entertainment. Noah, what are your thoughts on Road Dogg's comments?
It just feels close-minded to me, because coming from a guy that worked in sports entertainment, practically his whole life, and judging a sports entertainer type persona in a professional wrestling company, it's pretty stupid. And you also got to consider the experience factor with Orange Cassidy being 20-plus years in the business. If you want to push forward talent, you only want to push forward a character, you want to push over their in-ring capability. Orange Cassidy's the guy that is favored by everybody because of what he does, because of what he brings, because of how he acts. They're also OGs of AEW. Respectable bout. Orange Cassidy had a championship mentality. He garnered a couple of moves there to try and out-leverage Wardlow's power, but it wasn't meant to be. In the end, Wardlow still became champion. Orange Cassidy still looks strong, and Orange Cassidy's still going to be Orange Cassidy. So, honestly, his thoughts, they pretty much have no real retrospective, I feel like, when it comes to the presentation of Orange Cassidy, or the fact that he is a sports entertaining persona that you might really see in professional wrestling that actually works to a degree. It just shows the two worlds can actually coexist when done correctly. I just think it's shallow. It's sometimes, again, with the power of social media, with the power of, you behind a microphone, you feel you can say anything, you feel that you're being accurate, or you're stuck in your own ways, you feel like those are the appropriate ways versus how things are done now. It's foolish, it's short-sighted, and if he didn't know, now he should know. Wake up, Road Dogg, because you'd be surprised how much this sports entertaining persona of professional wrestling works a lot better than a lot of stuff today in a sports entertainment company that focuses only on sports entertaining.
Jeff, your thoughts?
Well, first of all, let me just point out for the record, we officially passed 1,000 views on this show tonight.
Yeah.
Woo! Thank you, everybody.
First of all, your comparisons of Wardlow to Goldberg and the Ultimate Warrior.
Mute. Uh-oh.
We lost Jeff.
Dot.
Watch.
Oh my God. He has not gotten a single goddamn break with this Wi-Fi.
It's just one of those days.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Jeff.
All right. Let me try to. Okay. I won't insult the big goofs this time. Can we stay on? Thank you. Okay. The comparisons of Wardlow to the Warrior and Goldberg are what they are. I disagree, because I think the fandom has more faith in Wardlow than Tweedledee and Tweedledum. Number two, you're absolutely right. The times have changed. And if he wants to shit on a comedy act getting over before the actual in-ring skills, how much urine did you actually put on the DOA's bike there, Brian, before you became a tag team champion again?
Damn.
I'll wait. Thank you very much. And it took all of DX and steel chairs and Sean Waltman's balls up in Mick Foley's face to get you guys the tag titles back at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
But I digress. By the shirt of Roast and Tease. We'll put that shit later. Noah's right. Brian just and it's hard because I like Brian too, and I love his co-host. Our buddy Ryan is his co-host on the podcast, not on this podcast, but on his own, and it's on Conrad's platform. So it's like, God, just all the digging I don't want to do into that hole. But yeah, it's Noah hit it pin on. It's the problem is we're in the social media era, so everybody's got an opinion, and like I've always said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody, relatively speaking, has one, and they usually stink. So there is that. James,
bring us home, James.
Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. It's the pot calling the kettle black, because I swear to God, didn't you used to hump top guys in the Attitude Era after performing a pump handle slam?
Yes, right. So
what in the hell is the difference between Orange Cassidy's little, kicks and what you did? You were a comedy act, and you got over. Orange Cassidy is a comedy act, and he got over. Get off your high horse and suck it. All right? That's all I got to say.
I just think Brian's bitter because Norman Smiley did the big wiggle better than he did the hump on the pump.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may not have to go to church tomorrow because James here preaching the gospel.
Justify my brother.
Yeah, he ain't speaking straight facts. He's speaking straight hypocrisy. There you go.
All right, Jeff, go ahead and hit us with the third topic, the one that
okay.
That I didn't know about. Let's get that one out of the way before we get to the main event of the evening.
Yeah. So I'm gonna preface this by saying I had no desire to bring this person up again. Okay. But Paul sent me the screenshots that everybody's favorite journalist, Ryan Satine, how you say it, that's his last name, put up there. Okay. So, Joey Ryan, accused of what he's accused of, whatever. The Me Too movement hit him like a friggin' truck. Nothing ever proven, so I didn't crack on it. Disneyland fired him. But that was their bad because they didn't do proper diligence on a damn background check. That's the mouse's fault as much as it is Joey's. Okay. But now this mucker father, here we go. All right. I mean, this is an actual thing, by the way. If these balls can talk, the rise and fall
of Joey Ryan's penis.
Oh my God.
This is an actual thing that is happening here in LA at the Whitefire Theater, which I've been to more than once, over on Ventura next month. So he now has a one-man show about his controversy. All right, so Jay?
Okay, let me just point out that is the Friday before my birthday.
Yeah, I know. I got no word. Okay. All right, so.
Yep, I'm with you, CC. No.
Press
no. Good.
What
JJ has
world is happening here?
I want to hear CC because I never hear her speak, actually, because she's speaking.
The whole reason she's here is because she wanted to go off on the Vince thing.
Yes.
So that's the whole reason she's here right now, is that she wanted to speak on that. But do you have something you want to say about this?
I am flabbergasted right now. I am truly appalled at the thought of this. Don't get me wrong. In this particular case, I see he's trying to capitalize on a controversy. I get this. But what in the world made him think that people actually would want to hear about this?
No.
I'm dumbfounded at this point in time, gentlemen. So please take the floor because no.
Well, Eric Bischoff wrote a book called "Controversy Creates Cash."
Right.
Number one. Number two, and I feel like I'm defending Joey on this.
Oh, Lord.
But again, I made this point when we discussed the Disneyland thing. He has never been proven guilty of anything. So if he wants to take this, whether it's a one-shot deal or take it on the road and have the opportunity to put his story out there, since most media sites, whether they are legitimate media or illegitimate media, your TMZs of the world, whatever, don't want to cover his side of the story. If he wants to do this to take the story on the road, get his side out there, and people are actually going to pay to see him, I don't see a problem with this. At the end of the day, the man deserves to make a living somehow because he has not been proven guilty of anything. If he's not going to get booked on indie shows because people don't want to take the chance, if he can't work a 9-to-5 like Disneyland because they jacked up the background search, if he can book these venues, charge $25 a ticket, promote himself, and actually draw people in to hear his side of things, go ahead, Joseph Meehan. Do your thing.
Can I go next?
Feel free, James.
Here's my question. If Joey Ryan wanted to prove that he was innocent, why doesn't he, I don't know, take it to the freaking Supreme Court? Just a thought. Just a thought. Probably
sometimes the court of public opinion is more important.
Well, other times you could also sway that public opinion to be on your side. If he really did nothing wrong, then why doesn't he take this to the Supreme Court?
Probably because none of the women that accused him of anything have taken it to an actual court.
Doesn't mean he can't. He can still sue for defamation of character.
True.
If this is really bothering him that much, and he's trying anything he can to make a living and clear his name, why wouldn't the first thing be to go to some sort of courthouse and get this challenged?
Absolutely, pull a Johnny Depp.
That's all you got to do. Johnny Depp did it. He won. Why hasn't he?
The only thing I can think of why maybe he hasn't is because of the finances involved.
Well, then maybe he shouldn't have ever.
He doesn't have the bookings. He doesn't have the bookings anymore to be able to pay the fees. He doesn't have the 9-to-5 anymore to pay the fees. Maybe him doing this is what's going to make the fees to try to do that.
Maybe,
but if he had a leg to stand on, he wouldn't have to worry about paying the fees because at the end of the day, if he won his case, that would pay all of his fees.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
So
Jeff, you wanted to bring this up. What have you got to say? And then we'll go to Noah to round this one out.
Okay. Your point, and again, I missed James's retort, so apologies.
My retort was, why didn't he just take it to a Supreme Court or some sort of courthouse?
Yeah, there you go. So this is going to be a hot take. I'm going to get hate mail for this @ Jeff Meacham for the tweets and on Instagram as well. So Joey deserves to make money because he wasn't criminally convicted of anything or accused of anything yet. I have 4 words for you by a book by a former Buffalo Bill. If I Did It by O.J. Simpson. Noah?
All
right.
Wow.
Hey.
Damn.
Wow.
Hey.
Yeah.
That's really all I need. The point I need to make. Really.
Well, the classic line, innocent until proven guilty. But I mean, if you're trying to use this sort of platform to plead your case because maybe it's more affordable, more power to you. But I hope that at the end of the day, you as a human being will find some sort of clarity where this no longer is a controversy that breathes over you like a dark cloud. I don't know necessarily I would use this type of platform, especially for a monetary gain. You probably would be better off doing something like others, like on Twitch or a YouTube live thing and super chat and da-da-da. I mean, again, you're already putting yourself out there, risking telling your side to a bunch of people that are going to come see you. Whether or not they're going to listen to you or try and attack you is a whole different thing. So, again, your approach to clear your name. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, I'll add one last thought to this. Really, it's like we've been at this and been going at this in circles now for months, for years now with this guy.
Yes.
At the end of it all, the dick spot, and I said this before, never should have happened. If you knew it was going to be that controversial to the point it was going to do this, and you knew that risk going in, and it ended up happening to you, I don't feel sorry for you. Period.
I don't think Joey, and again, I don't, clearly not friends with Joey. I don't think Joey thought that even doing that spot, doing the whatever the U-point, whatever the hell they called the suplex, I don't honestly think he thought it would be, it would go this far on the negative downturn, because people like Cornette were attacking it, and everybody just seems to love Jimmy Cornette. So I didn't think he thought it would be a big deal. But, you know, and again, this is me not knowing all the facts. Make that clear now. But based on Joey's perceived reputation behind the curtain, away from the ring, however you want to phrase it, he was asking for trouble.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's not only, as was pointed out, having this one-man show, but Noah made a great point. He's charging people
to pay
to go to go see him tell his story.
Yeah, how well did that work last time, by the way?
But just as far as I'm concerned, if he doesn't feel like he was able to prove his innocence on a free IG Live, Periscope Live, whatever the hell it was,
YouTube
when
video,
he did that big, YouTube, whatever, that big long rant he did, what in the hell makes you think people are going to want to pay $200 to have him say basically the same shit? This is a combination of him trying to get attention again and trying to stir up exactly the kind of shit that's happening right here on this screen. Because he knows people like me aren't going to give him any friggin' quarter because of his reputation. I said this, I forget who I was talking to in the car or whatever. He gave me, you know what? It was Travis. I was talking to Travis on the way to the club the other night. The day I walked into, and again, I'm sorry in advance if it gets me in trouble with her, but you know what? I'm at the point where I don't give a shit anymore. The day I walked into UPW Mat Wars, that very first time as Lizzie Valentine's guest, Joey Ryan gave me the sideways look and never looked back at me. And that was 18 years ago. So I have no reason to do anything but condemn him, whether I know the facts or not, because he judged me without even having said a fucking word to me.
Yeah.
Or me to him. So I know you shouldn't eye for an eye in this world. You shouldn't, hold grudges for that long. But you know what? He never gave me the opportunity to change his view of me. He never gave Aaron the opportunity to do anything but, make his life miserable when he tried to film around his stupid ass. So fuck him. Fuck him. And there's 3 more I got to add. Go ahead, Jay.
All right.
Well,
so then that brings us to the main event of the evening.
Oh boy.
Which has been talked about by everybody.
Yeah,
in the room
it's been
already.
talked about ad nauseum.
Yes.
All of us were on the NoDQ panel yesterday when the news broke.
Yes.
WWE announced that effective immediately, Paul Triple H Levesque has resumed his executive position as EVP of Talent Relations, followed by Vince McMahon at 77 years old, time for him to retire. Thank you, WWE Universe. Then, now, forever together. And then I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives. In particular, both chairwoman and co-CEO Stephanie McMahon and co-CEO Nick Khan. So there's a lot to discuss about this. There's a lot that we've already talked about.
Right.
But we do have at least one person on the panel tonight that was unable to address things last night.
Yeah.
So the floor is yours.
Okay. So, to be honest with you, hearing this news, the first thing that came to my mind was it's about damn time.
Amen. Amen.
And here's my behind this. It is almost 40 years to the day that he did the same thing to his father, begged him to let the reins go and let him fly with his ideas. You know, because people forget that this company technically was not his in the beginning. It was WWF. It was his father's company, the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. When he wanted to take over the reins, he pushed his father to the side. 1982 is when he pushed his father to the side.
Yep.
40 years. And he gave his kids such a hard time.
Yeah, he did.
It's about damn time that he opened his eyes and figured out it was time for him to let the reins go. Give it to the next generation. The same way he did 40 years ago. I don't know if you gentlemen know my background. I have been watching professional wrestling.
Damn it.
Since I was literally 4 years old. I had 30 some odd years, because 2005 is when I kind of fell off.
Fair enough.
When I say all professional wrestling, my aunt who introduced this to me used to take her Betamax camera to Indy wrestling shows, and when I come to visit her in the summer, that's what I watched.
Nice.
Like WCW, watch that. I was a fan of the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's how long I've been a wrestling fan.
Respect.
It just baffled me that he went through the same thing 40 years ago and didn't even think that maybe history was repeating itself. So when I saw the headline, I was glad. And to quote my son, I thought he retired 5 years ago. So, truthfully, it was a long time coming. So that is my take on it, gentlemen.
If anybody in the room is in the same age bracket as the three of us on top to remember Betamax, God bless you. God bless. There's the Jesus. Woo, amen. Lordy. All right.
Testify, sister. Damn.
Right. It's right. Shit. Again, Raddick makes a great point in the chat room, so I'll go ahead and bring it up. Even without the controversy, this is, like Steve said, this has been a long time coming. It really has. And, we also have to keep a couple things in mind to jump off of CC's point there. When Vince and Jay sold, along with Gorilla and the other two, I forget who the other two shareholders were. Forgive me for my lack of knowledge right now. Can't look it up because the internet sucks a dick here. Nobody knew how sick Vince Sr. was with cancer. Nobody had any idea how bad it was. We've all, at some point or another, in the last, I'll say since Hunter's 25th anniversary, so 2020, we've all been saying how haggard Vince has been looking. So, not that he's sick, because I don't, again, despite belief to the contrary, we don't wish death on this channel on anybody.
No, never. Absolutely not. You don't take human life for granted.
No. I don't wish it on my mates. I wish them to have explosive sneezing fits in traffic while holding in diarrhea. That's what I want for my enemies. That's what I want.
That's oddly specific. What the hell?
Damn, Jeff. Tell us how you really feel.
That's
what
a
the
very
hell,
creative
bro?
imagination.
I think he just did.
Yeah. I don't want people to die. I just want them to have that kind of suffering so they don't actually die. They just have a complete spaz in their car. Away from everybody else, though. That's the thing.
God.
So, anyway. If you've ever been a driver and sneaks in the car, that's bad enough. Having the shit, yeah, that's double trouble.
Well,
literally.
Joey Ryan, we know what your fate holds.
That's right. Looking at you,
Damn.
Joey. Anyway. And you know what? And Joey's not my enemy. I just don't like this son of a bitch, honestly. Anyway. But as far as Vince, again, we've all been ragging on the creative for a very long time.
Yes.
But it's hard to argue with Virtue's points the last year or two. The company has been making money hand over fist on every revenue stream they could possibly have.
Yes.
The only thing that's been bad is the ratings. And like we've all talked about, Nielsen ratings and the other way they measure ratings are just that. They're numbers that are not ever 100% accurate, and they weren't in the 1990s during the wars either. Let's not kid ourselves. So, but Vince's creative mojo has been very much midway point of Austin Powers 2, despite his Shaggy, completely removed from his flow there. So, and it's been damn noticeable. So, I would not have had a problem with him stepping away from creative because the company's still making money. He wants to run the business, cool. Just keep your damn hands out of the creative process and keep your hands off the employees. Oh man, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But
really what that comes down to.
But this, I brought up the point last night that this is, there's been so much scandal the last 40 years. Here's the difference. The last 23 years, they've been a publicly traded company. He has to answer to the board of directors. He can't just, okay, well, all right, Pat, you take care of this part. Bruce, take care of this part. No. He's got to sit at that big, long-ass table and go, that's right. And that's not going to fly anymore. It hasn't been able to fly for a long time. He just hasn't done something that's astronomically stupid in the last 23 years. So if what he did is actually proven true, again, gotta keep that categorically phrased. But when the board, from what has been said, the board said either you're going to step down or we're going to have you step down. That's your choice right now.
Yep, and Shane can pretty much knows what he's talking about when he says that type of stuff too.
Yeah, and that's that's why he has open door on my channel as far as I'm concerned.
Because he's the best source for this type of stuff.
Yeah, and
he really is.
I loved over the course of the last 27 hours now that everybody was up, including me. Let me throw myself under that bus too. Was up Brian Alvarez and Sean Ross Sapp's ass for talking about, Brock's leaving. It's like nobody ever said that Brock was leaving the company. All they said was Brock left the arena because Vince retired. And he did. And then he came back, walked down the aisle, and put Theory in his little money in the bitch place. That's what he did yesterday. So nobody was saying anything false yesterday on any front on that whole reporting thing. So I would personally like to apologize for calling up Brian Alvarez's ass this time. Sean, love you, Sean.
I will
love you.
say, watching Lesnar put Theory in his fucking place was absolutely amazing last night. I loved seeing that. It was awesome. Beat him with his own damn briefcase. Thank you. That I needed that. I needed to see that. Sorry.
Especially if he cashes in next Saturday and we all have to go off the air with various cases of vomit inducing. And I know you like him, Jay, and good on you, brother.
I was going to say, I'll probably be the only one in the house to be happy.
The 1 and 5.
And that's the thing. I'm going to be with y'all next weekend, so it's going to be an icy situation if Theory walks out the champion.
I'm going to make sure
I'll have a shot for you ready, Meech.
Oh hell, I'm going back to the studio house tonight. I'm packing my liquor tomorrow night.
Oh no. No,
see,
I must remain straight edge.
I know you were right there with me back in the day, Jeff, but it's very much going to be a similar situation to when Miz cashed in his briefcase the first time, and nobody else was happy except for me and you.
Yep.
Except this time, you're not even going to be happy about Theory. It's just going to be me.
The Vince topic,
You
by
may
the way,
as well
Josh.
put me on the lonely island, goddammit.
That's right.
We're on the Vince topic, by the way, Josh.
Yeah, sorry, Josh. I like Theory. I do. I think he's got a great future, but I buy him so I so very teeny tiny buy him, even if they beat the absolute dog out of each other, cashing on either one of those guys. It will just and again, I know. Well, Bryan Danielson did. You didn't bitch about that. Yeah, you're right. I did.
With all due
He
respect,
also wasn't made to look like an absolute geek.
with all due respect, I don't think next weekend is the time for him to do it.
No.
I mean, match-wise, you're not going to find a better opportunity. It's last man standing.
Right.
But I think next weekend is too close to winning it, and with everything going down with the Vince thing.
Yeah.
He is labeled with that stink of Vince's protege right now.
Yes.
Probably
He
for
needs
a while. Yeah.
he needs a few months to get away from that stank and earn respect on his own.
Yep.
Before he cashes in, whether he's still a heel or he goes face with the cash in, irrelevant. But he's got until Money in the Bank. He should not even be looking at anything until Elimination Chamber.
No, I think it's shitty that they're totally downplaying he gets their U.S. title rematch on Saturday.
On the same night.
What the shit? Like, so yeah.
Well, I mean, I want to kind of segue it back to Vince and like him having stank on people. It's just like,
right.
I feel like that's kind of like I feel like the one thing that hasn't even been touched on has to be like the idea that things might be a little bit more lax now, especially for the women's side, which I don't think gets nearly talked about enough. Because again, it's like obviously, and this is not even factoring in the stuff that he did with employees or whatever. But like, it's sad. It's sad that he did a lot. I don't even know if there's only one thing that was worse than what he was accused of, and they just never convicted him of it. But he bailed a murderer out.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like that was the like. How did it? Why did it have to take this damn long? Like it's way too long. CC said it for me. It's like it's been a long time coming from not just a creative standpoint, but from
Corporate
just a corporate structure and a humanitarian standpoint.
That's the key word there.
I made the comparison the other day. Why did it take so long for Al Capone to get on tax evasion with all the people he killed?
Yeah, exactly.
Money talks. Money talks more in the corporate world, and bullshit walks, brother.
Yeah.
Fact. The deepest pocket and the biggest mouth is what ends the day on top.
The fact that the only reason we ever knew the amount of facts we knew about the Jimmy Snuka and Nancy Archino case is because Dark Side of the Ring, and because Jimmy was deemed too incompetent to stand trial on his own. If he'd have gone to trial,
he would have been guilty as charged.
He would have died from the ordeal. I guarantee you would have. It would have been bad.
No doubt.
It would have been worse than it was. How about that? It was bad already.
So let me ask you guys this. Obviously, Stephanie started off SmackDown last night, gave a nice little speech.
Yes.
But I was telling Cece in the car yesterday, do we want to hear from Vince directly? And I'm thinking, Monday night is the Garden.
Yeah.
That is their home base.
Right.
You think about all the main events that WWF ran in the Garden.
Yeah.
The Garden's the Garden, Vinny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep, that's true.
Do we want to see him come out on Raw? Here we are almost 30 years of Monday Night Raw.
Almost.
at the Garden just to, even if it's a pre-tape that they throw on at the start of the show?
Yeah.
Or was what Stephanie said enough? Noah, what do you think?
Well, there's not a more synonymous place in this company's history than Madison Square Garden. If nothing else, have Vince walk in there, empty arena, think about what he's done in that building, think about what's still going to happen in that building. Stand in the ring in the middle and look on, and then just walk away. And that should be the last thing you ever see of Vince McMahon related on WWE screening, in my opinion.
Yep, that's it.
Yep.
I'm fine with that, actually. And that's being generous with all the crap he's done.
We know how you feel about Vince, James. I mean, you even said that you're stepping away from the big four PLEs because of
let me just put this in perspective. That was before Friday happened. I don't know what's going on now. I know I'm skipping Survivor Series because that doesn't even matter anyway at this point. But
and it never will again.
Well, I mean, if Roman and the Usos have both belts still, who do they face?
Nobody.
The Usos versus the Usos?
The Usos.
Roman versus Roman? I mean, it's been about supremacy, IC versus US.
Yep.
How do they do this if the belts aren't separated by then?
Oh, simple. They don't.
Simple.
They don't do championship versus champion. They do team bloodline versus team. Create 4 people as one, and have them sent to slaughter.
We already seen it already at WrestleMania Backlash.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
technically yes, but then we went off the rails and did our own thing because we couldn't believe that this was the main event.
To me, I'm glad that we're gonna go into a new direction. What that direction is, it's still uncertain. And you could again go to the NoDQ review impromptu video where Shane pretty much explains why we have no idea what the hell could happen.
Exactly.
But I need to give it still at least until the Rumble before I can even make a final decision, because it's going to take a long time to recorrect the damage that Vince has done to all 3 shows.
That's
at this
fair.
standpoint. I mean, there's a lot they have to fix.
No doubt.
That's fair.
Now, for personal opinion, I think what Stephanie did was enough. But from a business standpoint, I think the fans are going to want some sort of direct goodbye. So honestly, I think something like you said, even just a pre-tape, something just to appease the fans, just to get it over.
Just
because
if for
I think
no other reason than to make
settlement until then.
Exactly. If for no other reason than to silence Twitter.
Bingo.
Yes.
Nothing.
Vince has always been a fairly hard-nosed individual on television. He's never really been the most sentimental guy.
No.
We've seen a few tinkerings here and there where you've seen a little bit of a softer side of Vince,
Yeah, like when Triple H fired him and he cried in the middle of the ring.
Rocky's birthday is an example of that for me. When he came out there and he introduced Rock's birthday and they showed that video package and he spoke not as Mr. McMahon, but as Vince. I want to say it was WrestleMania 20 promo where the final shot was him and Shane and the first grandkid, and you could kind of see that joy on his face of finally being a grandparent.
Right.
That's fair.
You do get those cracks in the McMahon armor from him on occasion.
Undertaker.
But, yeah, Undertaker. Thank you. I think that this is one of those moments where Vince feels, and I could be completely wrong. I don't know the man personally. Granted, I've got a picture with him, but I don't know him personally. But I feel like this is one of those things where Vince wants to put that armor down and just say thank you to everybody for what he has accomplished it's going to sound a little bit egotistical, but for what he's been able to accomplish in the business and the fact that the fans have willingly gone along on the ride with him through Hulkamania and, the 83 weeks of being decimated to the rise of Austin and The Rock
aggression.
Attitude to ruthless aggression and everything to PG. The fact that the fans have allowed that to happen, I feel like he's going to want to go out there and say thank you. Like I said, even if it's just a pre-tape. Jeff, what are your thoughts?
A couple things. As far as Stephanie and Vince being on camera, I think Stephanie looking into the camera and saying "Love you, Dad" is indicative of one of two things. Either we're not going to see Vince because she wanted to make sure that was said without it being blasted, or it's indicative of we're going to get him on Monday because it is at the Garden. Second thing, you mentioned the first grandchild. I have not said this on social media or on camera yet, and I can't believe it's a thing because I remember when his kid was still a kid. God damn. Congrats to Sean Waltman on becoming a granddad this last week.
Wow.
His son Jesse had a well, not Jesse himself because we're not in that age of medical science yet, but Jesse became a father this week. So congrats, Sean. Jesse, man. I probably don't remember my ass. It's been almost 20 years now, but congrats to the Waltman family. That is too friggin' cool for school. So big happy and all the hugs to Sean Waltman and listen to how it goes, Grandpappy. But yeah, Vince, I mean, we all said it yesterday. I'm still thinking about it. I've been thinking about it all day because I knew we were going to bring him up tonight.
Right.
It's very difficult for me to envision turning on Monday Night Raw knowing that after all the reports have come out the last day and what we're going to hear in the next couple days, it's going to be hard to turn on Raw knowing that Vince McMahon has no control at all of any facet of what we're going to see. That is... Hang on.
He's changed to the square graphic.
He's changing the number. I know what he's going to say. That's why I'm just waiting for it.
That is fucking weird to think about.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I have not watched a Monday Night Raw since I think Bryan Danielson won back at WrestleMania 30. I literally might watch this Monday because I truly don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That was what I stepped away too. So right around there.
It's crazy because like I it was around the same time for me, like a little after Noah stopped watching. I stopped watching after they did that weird damn. You remember that damn segment with Ryback building up to Survivor Series that year where they had him turn face, then turn heel, and then turn face again?
Oh yeah, he basically was the proverbial big.
Yeah, when he turned heel, that's when I turned off the TV. I'm like, fuck this shit.
Click.
Yeah. There's another F-bomb, by the way, because I said it. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, no, that's when I stopped. I was just like, I couldn't take it anymore at that point. I was just like, dude, I need something better than what this is. Even if that, and that's really like, it's funny because I've been doing podcasting for years. Like even before I got to work with any of you guys, I was saying like I could do a better job. The whole thing of WYW existing was because of a comment on Daily Motion on one of our old podcasts. Well, you guys, always say you could do a better job. Why don't you actually go out and prove it? Do it yourself. We are doing that now. That's the whole reason WYW exists. Is that's why it is what it is. It's like it's crazy.
I've only been in internet / content creating wrestling net community since October 2018, and that in itself is crazy considering what I've discovered, encompassed, engaged, adapted, learned, connected with, and right now seeing this direction in this company, basically, literally day one, under a whole new identity of authority. I never thought I'd see it in my life. I really never thought I would see this day come to my life, and I don't know how to interpret it or handle it. Because right now, everything, absolutely everything, is up in the air starting Monday night, and this is the weekend of SummerSlam.
I think that's a great point that you bring up, Noah, and I apologize for just stepping on you, Jeff. But I wanted to mention something when James brought it up a minute ago, and then Noah kind of recirculated the thought process here. With it essentially being a brand new era come Monday night, and I wouldn't really change anything going into SummerSlam a week away because that's already been built and hyped and everything.
Yeah,
but
the people know what they're getting, whether or not they like it or they're complacent with it. They know what they're getting. So,
but the Raw post SummerSlam, do you pull a WCW 2000 and just reboot everything?
Don't know. I wouldn't. We saw how that
New
worked.
champions, the whole nine. Start tournaments all over again. Strip people of title belts. The only thing that would stay in circulation would be the Money in the Bank briefcase. And that's not because of being a fan of Theory or anything, but because that honestly is an X factor into just about any title, period.
Right.
But do you strip everybody and start rebranding WWE in the Stephanie, Nick Khan, to a lesser extent, Triple H vision post SummerSlam?
I feel like you tease it, but if there's one thing we know that WWE has done in the past, and this will be the first time I could truly feel legitimately something different, reset the entire roster, do a draft this fall, and then go from there. When I think about 2016, and Raw actually did feel different from the set to the roster, it literally being the home of giants, to SmackDown being the focus more of professional wrestling, making stars literally demonstrated on their own platform. Here's what Eddie Guerrero did, for example, on SmackDown when he came there and owned the freaking show. I would kind of go that approach. Now, whether or not I would go as far as to bring back the idea of general managers, not very long. I know tag team wrestling is never going to be the same. I don't know if we go that far, but I feel like to really try and encompass a fresh start, you truly rebuild both Raw and SmackDown to stand out differently with a realistic draft. And I feel that you start teasing that idea literally after SummerSlam.
And you've also got the opportunity to potentially rebrand NXT back into what made you guys love it in the first place.
Black and gold, yeah.
You know, granted, like I've said on a couple occasions, I didn't really get to see the black and gold, so I don't know what it is that y'all saw that was so different. I do enjoy what I'm presented on Tuesdays, but I may feel completely different if I had come up in that era that you came up in.
It's one of those things where it felt like the alternative within the actual WWE itself. It focused more on competitive in-ring action and compelling storytelling over the weeks, and sometimes not necessarily the same thing every week. They bounced between a couple of weeks, and then they gave quality pay-per-views that literally were no longer than 2.5 to 3 hours. You got the Peacock now, so you can literally understand what NXT Black and Gold was to us by just looking at NXT TakeOver. You can start in the very beginning and just see what literally was building back in NXT TakeOver Brooklyn and go from there. Because when I look at that show that night was the first night I can remember rewatching some of WWE that I felt this actually makes me believe this company actually cares about professional wrestling.
Damn it.
But I digress. And also, Bayley,
Buy the shirt.
Bayley, there you go. Buy the shirt. Bayley, Sasha Banks defining themselves that night, and women's professional wrestling going forward for a very, very long time. So while you do look at this NXT, and I think this is just every 40-year-old virgin and horny college student's wet dream, I feel like Triple H has a lot of work to do to try and get us away from that direction too. I don't think it's impossible, but like I said, nothing's going to happen overnight. That was going to happen really in the next year, I feel like, too. But right now, I can honestly say, for the first time in over what nearly feels like a decade, I actually care what might be going on in the WWE.
Yeah,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, CC.
I said, to be honest with you, if she's smart, I don't think she'll shock the world. I think she'll implement one thing at a time and make the change over the next year. Yep. So by the time this time next year, you're looking at a brand new product, but it's done in such a way where the fans who are used to everything else will be able to embrace it.
Yeah, adapt.
So I think if she's smart, she'll do it that way, because that's a better business standpoint, and that won't piss off the fans that are enjoying what's going on right now.
Exactly.
Fans like us who want to see the big changes will enjoy it because we'll watch the big changes. So it's the best of both worlds if she does it that way.
Or gradually ease our way back into it. Yeah.
He's focusing on the audience that has coped with this product. Let's be honest here. Most of the WWE audience that actually watch this have coped. But she's also trying to re-engage the lapsed audience, too, that the likes of Impact Wrestling and AEW have kind of drawn back into this business to a degree, too. Ring of Honor personified. So, again, a structured business plan to think about the elements that actually worked versus the ones that need to go away.
Yes.
The one example of going right into changing everything right away, not working, look at Nitro. Look at what happened when Russo reset everything. Very similar. You mentioned that as a comparison. That tanked the show's ratings. Now, the company itself was dead in the water, regardless if it succeeded or failed. We've already covered that.
I was going to say you can't put all the blame for that on Russo, because he was told change this, make it successful. He tried to change it, and after like a week and a half, 2 weeks, they were like, "We're not seeing any results, so we're taking it away from you again."
Right, but the reason that happened is because he tried to force it on people that were used to everything else.
Exactly.
That was kind of the problem. Like, okay, you can't just change. Look at hell. I'll use a recent example, even though this doesn't necessarily count for you, JJ. But look at what happened to NXT 2.0. It went from black and gold to freaking Nickelodeon crap, and then like a bunch of people tuned out. A lot more than what already tuned out, because they were getting a better product with AEW every week. So it's like, that's kind of what we're dealing with there in that regard.
And I get that,
just drastically change everything right out of the gate.
Right. And I get what you're saying, but what you got to remember is that I don't know what the product was like.
No, that's why I said you know
what it is.
Yeah.
So then look at it this way. What lost me for WWE, because right around 2005, that's when they started doing the whole splitting people up, putting them in separate rosters, splitting up teams. That was the beginning of my end. So that same shock to the system that they did way back then in the early 2000s, that made me pretty much throw up my hands and walk out the door.
There's the white flag.
We don't want them to do that same thing, because I know that lost me when they split up the roster, the Raw, SmackDown, separate everybody. My favorite teams got split up. Everything got messed up, and I was like, "What the fuck am I looking at?"
We saw with Nitro in 2000. We saw with TNA in 2010. We saw with NXT not too long ago. We don't want that again. Just ease into it. As Jeff has said multiple times, wrestling is not that hard to book.
It's just a wallet.
Another effort of finance. I will also add to the quote of Adam Blompier. Wrestling is best booked by using the context of what you already have.
Yes.
Exactly.
Just build off that, and the changes will happen gradually.
And just look at AEW and what they've accomplished, what they evolved, what they have literally become and done in 3 years,
and still
in
becoming.
this day and era.
Yeah.
To wrap up your point, Jay, and then we'll go into promotionals and be on for another hour. Clearly, throwing that out there now. I think the act of rebooting the titles in 2000 by WCW was an act of desperation.
because they had nowhere else to go. They had nothing else to pull out of their bag of tricks.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
WWE is nowhere near in the creative hole or the financial hole that WCW was. Nor will they be in a financial hole unless the market completely boxed out like it did in the wake of the AOL shit. Which I don't think that won't affect WWE necessarily. Creatively, they do need a shakeup. I don't dispute that whatsoever. We've all talked about that and agreed on that. But I think a complete no, we're not going to have James ran on Tony's tweets because we talked about it yesterday. Tony threw the shade. He did what he did, and you know what? We all.
I found it funny.
Yeah,
I was laughing my ass off. I'm like,
Jesse Damon found it funny.
I was
James found
gonna
it
say-
funny. I found it
I was
funny.
laughing
This is just
at
a
it.
guy.
Yeah,
Just,
I was
you know.
gonna say,
Like,
Josh.
it was in jest. It wasn't even.
It
that
wasn't
big of a
jest.
deal.
Josh, asking James to rant against Tony Khan.
I have,
Yes.
by the way. I have ranted on Tony Khan before.
Tony
I have
Khan's made some
definitely
mistakes.
given that man shit.
But when it comes to him saying something about Vince, you're asking the wrong person to rant on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn right.
Like, come on, man.
Continue, Jeff.
I forget the hell. Oh, so yeah, it's I don't think they're at the point of no return. They're just running out of gas on that long road, and they need to find a filling station in.
It's not that I think they're on the point of no return. That wasn't my thought process on it. But, it's just if we're under a new regime, start fresh. Was Roman Reigns a Vince McMahon project, or was that a Triple H Stephanie project?
It was Vince.
Right, but I think there are enough people that are loyal to the bloodline as fans, enough people that are interested in see where this Walter/Gunther/Marcel thing goes for the Intercontinental Championship, that they're curious about Theory and will he only be the U.S. champion? Will he only cash in? That there's enough primal elements within these different titles and storylines that a hard reset, a factory systems reset will have everybody going. But it'll be worse. I think.
You'll break brains worse than you'll break the internet. Basically, that's why you need a structure,
which will then make the internet toxic. Yeah,
exactly. That's why you need a structured, strategic plan. My place of operations uses a strategic plan when it comes to the way they want to grow the college, grow the outreach, make it a more welcoming organization. Because I work for a multi-billion-dollar nonprofit company, and we talk about this type of stuff all the time because change cannot happen just like that to everything overnight. You have to ease elements in while adapting to what you're doing now to make it something more worthwhile.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He purposely stays single. He loves his mama, and he works for a multi-billion-dollar nonprofit. Can we just keep this dude? Seriously. Like, seriously. He's the best guy I know. For real. Jesus.
Yeah.
Just me.
Lordy.
He's just a simple man.
He's just a simple man.
Oh, Lord.
Working hard for his fans.
Wait. Jeff, there's one more thing you need to bring up because you never got a chance to, and I'm glad I actually remembered this now. What was the tweet that Eric Bischoff said? Because you never, ever got to say that on the air on NoDQ. Ever.
Oh, he didn't really say anything except, just thanking for the opportunity to work with him, and he always enjoyed it. It wasn't anything that, it wasn't a big deal at all.
Okay, that was the main reason I wanted
That's
to
why I
talk
let it have to be here. I know Noah's not a moviegoer, and James, I'm not sure about your fandom, so forgive me, but I know JJ and I are happy that the trailer is out, and we are, as of tonight, 100 days to Halloween and 83 days until it ends. And I just want to throw it out there because I'm happy about it. So that's really one to throw it real quick.
Fair enough.
Anyway, let's see, where did that graphic go? Okay, so JJ, moderator, go ahead and pass around that baton again one more time as we go into what we'll know that'll be 6 hours of plugs.
Well, before we start the promotion here, the shill, I see that Josh has mentioned that Triple H needs to make sure that the IC belt is featured more.
Agreed.
I definitely think that'll happen considering Hunter's history with the Intercontinental Championship.
former Intercontinental Championship himself.
As far as you and Noah being the moral compasses of the no DQ, Josh, you like Fireball as much as me. I don't know if that makes you a moral compass, bro. Noah's straight edge.
Yeah, yeah. Noah's definitely the moral. I was gonna say somebody else, but I know that's not the case either.
But as far as Christmas being greater than Halloween, while I may personally agree with you, subjective.
Right.
Let us not forget what happened to good old Jack Skellington when he tried to get up and mix shit up.
Now,
I like all the holidays. It's my favorite time of the year. My birthday's in September. The Halloween's in October. Thanksgiving, November. Christmas, December. I love them all, man. Just give it them all. That's great. It's perfect.
Yeah, I'm probably the only person in the world that successfully mixes Halloween and Christmas. To me, they're both equally the same. So
yes, agreed. Yeah.
James, go ahead and start your shows.
All righty. So I don't have all the graphics yet, so I don't get to my preview video yet. Yes. All right. Fine. AEW. God, so much great wrestling. Look at me complaining about it.
You're burnt out, man. That's what it means. You're burnt freaking out.
FTW Watch Party, Fight for the Fallen, Dynamite and Rampage. It's official. We're gonna do it. And on top of that, you know what? And I'll have to actually show this first before anything. So
I'm not
because
sure
I got the graphics ready. It will be on my second screen. Don't worry about it. It's sent to you. So here it is. Right. First thing. What happened? I don't know.
Jeff has a comment.
Go ahead, JJ.
I can't load the second screen from my phone.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We can't do nice happy.
Yeah, because I'm sorry. Okay. I don't know.
James
you know what?
Pride.
You know what? Here. Listen.
Oh wait,
Here's the three.
Wait.
Oh, you could? Damn it. Oh, okay. You found a way. We found a way. Okay, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Whoa.
Okay. Hold on. It's not ready yet. Okay.
Take your time, brother. Take your time.
I'm taking my time. I'm not ready. Okay. Yeah.
You'll be fine.
So, this is the thumbnail that I have not gotten ready yet, but this is basically what it is. Stable Wars on Casey's channel. This has been so fun, man. I just wanted to promote that. That's the number one thing I wanted to plug. So, Stable Wars Episode 2 is going to be this Monday on top of the AEW Fighter Fest and Rampage things. That will be on Casey's channel this upcoming Monday. My stuff will be with the AEW stuff will be on that channel. As far as everything else goes, of course, make sure you buy my father's book. Unfortunately, I have no idea if he's even going to be around much longer, but I'm still going to try to sell that book last minute sale, so I'm pushing that in.
Man.
So if you're into baseball, you'll love this. Jim Hebert used to play for the Boston Red Sox, so go check that out while you still can, and please, while he still can see it. On top of that, make sure you can scan the QR codes as they appear on the screen, and make sure you subscribe to each channel that's featured. As we said, Buttonmasters Stable Wars will be premiering this Monday, but Episode 1's already out there, and the Buttonmasters intro is on my channel as we speak. All AEW Fighter Fest coverage on my channel. Retro Wrestling Review Series, SummerSlam 92, 2000, and 2002, along with 2012 and 2003 have been added to the schedule as well. Check out my podcast timeline on the entire Jeff Hardy situation, featuring Talk Wrestling and NoDQ.com. Check out my NASCAR Thunder 2004 Let's Play season mode. I love that game so much. Check out the watch-along of our show, WYW Gold Rush. Check out our crossover stream of Wrestling Rundown and ATW Forbidden Door. Super Mario Sunshine Road to 100% Part 1 Let's Play will be on Casey's channel, as well as Part 1 of WrestleMania Revenge Mode Let's Play is on Casey's channel now. Indy Force Episode 25 on my channel. AEW Blood and Guts Watch-Along. This is all on demand, by the way, for the most part. We did Death Before Dishonor. Again, I hadn't had time to make the new graphics. Every weekend since its relaunch, Wrestling Fortune 44 has AEW Spark, ran by yours truly above. Super Mario Bros. Z voice dub by yours truly. I did the intro for this show, which involves Fightful Steven Jensen, and of course, WYW Immortal will be the last thing I plug for this promotion. There you go.
Well done.
All right. Lots of stuff it looks like on James's channel. Noah, what have you got going on for us?
Well, first off, again, always a pleasure being a part of the Jeff Meacham Network family and doing this stuff with all of you two and everybody that engaged in the comments too. Thank you, by the way, to the, I kid you not, this number, 69 of you that put in your predictions for Step Before Dishonor tonight too. And the results,
make that 70, sadly. I just wanted to keep the number at 69, but I made my predictions on this show and on your stream. So.
All right, well, I'll figure that out later.
You ruined 69, James. Congratulations.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just like the autistic kid, ruining good things for everybody.
Damn it, James. You. No, I'm not doing that.
That's part of your
that's the gimmick. That's the gimmick.
All right, fine. He deserves it. Damn it, James! You freaking idiot!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's the next shirt for Noah, by the way.
The shirt for how many days I haven't said that to James Hebert. Coming soon to the Jeff Meacham Network, probably.
I'm gonna get PNG image renders of Noah and I, like of me looking like this, and Noah screaming at me when he says, "You fucking idiot."
That's right.
Anyway,
one more to the count.
Yeah, that'd be an old count itself. Ding. Anyway, folks, you want to know more about me? Know this. Why my voice is hoarse? Of course. I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it! But I
buy the shirt.
Yes, buy the shirt. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Foster1916. I'll get a graphic in here eventually. Because I'm simple. For all things wrestling, and shout out, of course, to my HW family on the Twitter that me and James Hebert are a part of. It's going to be another busy week ahead for this simple man in all things wrestling. On Tuesday night, we have the NoDQ Predictions panel for SummerSlam. Next week, Wednesday night, FTW Productions watch-along party for Fighter Fest. And, of course, AEW Dynamite recap on the Daily Slam. Next week, Friday, I'll be doing predictions for NJPW Music Mayhem, Ric Flair's last match, and a NoDQ Galaxy SummerSlam predictions panel. And then come Saturday, of course, is a recap for AEW Rampage, Fight for the Fallen. And, of course, I'll be back here providing play-by-play commentary with JJ for the biggest party of the summer in sports entertainment, SummerSlam, and then
along with me.
Yeah, along with you, James. And then Sunday, it will be a very interesting time on this super show of professional wrestling with me and Jeff Meacham himself as we call and look at Ric Flair's last match. And that's all ahead in this coming week, too. But as always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. They're just fans with no opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another and respect each other. Check your mentality if you can, too. And just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling and sports entertainment if you choose. It's as simple as that.
Here we go. You always know when there's a pay-per-view, a PLE, Noah is probably going to usurp Jeff and Aaron as the hardest working man in the IWC, because if there is a prediction panel out there in the world, Noah Foster is on it.
Yeah, with great graphics to boot.
So before we throw it over to the West Coast professor, the man that runs the channel, let me go ahead and get my shills in here. We've got a lot of stuff coming up on my channel. If you missed it today, go back and check out my review of Thor: Love and Thunder. Went live today. Tomorrow will be another episode of The War Zone, the weekly acquisition report. All the new additions to my ever-growing movie library. And when I say ever-growing, I'm not lying, because there's a corner over here with boxes upon boxes upon boxes of movies.
Interesting.
Have fun putting all that away.
We're just waiting to get the bookcases to start shelving them in.
He's waiting for the manpower to show up on Friday. Don't be lying to the people.
No, we're waiting for the money power to buy the bookcases.
Accurate.
The manpower will be here Wednesday. That part we have.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Okay, so you got that figured out. That's what's most important.
Come Monday, you get a double dose of the Renegade. First will be my review of Fantasia 2000, the sequel that we really didn't need to honestly, and I'm not trying to be mean, one of the most boring movies from the Walt Disney archives. This is the type of movie that we put on to go to sleep. However, Fantasia 2000 was a step above. You can hear all my thoughts about it at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. After that, we've got The Dads, Not Always on Wrestling, counting down the top 10 Shawn Michaels matches with special guest Statboy Mike Caldwell.
Woohoo!
3 different opinions, 3 different lists, and honestly, there were only a couple of doubles and repeat matches that we had.
Yes.
Between the 3 of us. I want to say that there was like at least 25 different matches.
Yeah, I was
argued about as the greatest of his career.
Good Lord.
Well, he's Mr. WrestleMania. He's the greatest of this generation, of our generation. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Wednesday, we've got the Tigger movie review over on my channel. I don't think you have a graphic for it. On Thursday, I am supposed to be on the review for the No DQ review. I don't know if that's 100% confirmed yet, but I am penciled in at this point. Yes, Jeff.
At this point, the 3 of us are penciled in. Like it's all but actually sharpied in at this point. We just have to remind.
From what I understand, yeah, I'm
Okay.
still even penciled in. Crying out loud.
So tune into the No DQ review this Thursday, as it'll be a Jeff Meacham Network takeover of the review.
Right.
Not a hostile takeover, but just a takeover.
And why on Thursday, JJ? Why are we doing that on Thursday? Because
Because we've got a whole bunch of stuff coming up. Yep, Thursday, immediately following the review. Me and Jeff ranked the incarnations of the 4 Horsemen, the most elite organization in professional wrestling. Damn it!
Damn it!
And yes, Jeff Jarrett's on my list. Our list.
That's right. And he's ranked higher than Paul Roma.
Well, as he should be, honestly.
But Paul Roma still is not the worst incarnation.
Which I still can't believe.
You're going to have to tune in Thursday, Noah, to find out the ranking.
I'll listen. I'll be listening while I'm working from home. And then after work's over, I'll be going to Catch Independent Wrestling Show in Monroe, Michigan with Paul Mead. Go see the likes of Shauna Reed.
There you go.
On Friday, it'll be my final Disney review for the month. An extremely goofy movie's going to wrap up my time inside of the Disney vault. On Saturday, new release Saturday, The Gray Man. Me and Cece actually just watched that this afternoon before the ROH show started.
Nice.
So we actually watched this prior to the kickoff and everything. It was definitely an interesting one. You're going to have to tune in to hear me discuss that. You got, I'm blanking on his name now. He's right in front of me. Chris Evans and Ryan Gosling.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes,
Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans in this. It was interesting.
Definitely was. Definitely was.
After that, I know Jeff threw it up a minute ago when Noah talked about it. Me and Noah, along with James, going to be doing the SummerSlam coverage.
Oh, yep.
Very much looking forward to doing my very first Big 4 pay-per-view, especially since SummerSlam has always been tied to my birthday. Granted, it's the end of July they're doing it. It's not August like it normally is.
And it's still freaking confusing.
But SummerSlam has always been in and around my birthday every year. Everyone always assumes SummerSlam is my favorite because of that. But no, Rumble is actually my favorite every year.
Now, SummerSlam was my favorite because of that.
There you go.
I shared it with my aunt every year, so.
So we got that on Saturday, like Jeff said, the Ric Flair coverage, but I'll let him shill about that.
Well,
because that's his pet project, if you will.
It is.
So Jeff Meacham, thank you for allowing me to moderate tonight for Open Mic Night. I will let you get any shills in that you still need to do, and then you can wrap it up for us.
Well, there you go. Again, next time you'll see me on screen is Monday, along with Mikey and JJ talking about Shawn Michaels. Again, Again, when Dad's was a Friday project, of course, it's going to be the 22nd because that was Sean's birthday. And I didn't put this out there either. That's how crazy yesterday was. I forgot to put out my obligatory Shawn Michaels in my picture. So happy birthday, Sean, a day late. There you go. I'm sorry your former boss decided to usurp your birthday in my priority list. His bad, not mine. I will not be on this predictions panel, but I will probably either be, moderating it or maybe even I'll simulcast it. We'll see. Of course, Tuesday night after NXT, 15 years counting, Talk Wrestling will be on the air. Wednesday night, the Greg Cherry Show. We've not heard from Greg about this whole Vince thing. So I'm curious what he has to say about it. I really am. That'll be Wednesday night, of course, prior to Dynamite, 7 o'clock Eastern Pacific. Again, JJ mentioned it. The Horsemen. As much as Flair's pay-per-view is my pet project, this moving to Thursday night instead of being in November was my begging, pleading, cajoling the Renegade to move it from Starrcade month to now because of the synergy involving Starrcast, Flair's last match, the roast, all that stuff, because nobody's talking about the Horsemen more than they are right now. So,
and again, it is a live ranking on a Thursday. This is something, granted, we started doing Dad's live. We did the HBK pre-tape because we wanted to work around Mikey's schedule.
Yes. Right.
But we have not done a live one this late in the evening.
No.
This day, this is going to be interesting to see what kind of ratings we draw. Especially with the topic at hand and the fact that we've constantly thrown out there that Paul Roma is not in the worst incarnation, nor is Jeff Jarrett, depending on who you ask, was even a horseman, nor is Sid Vicious, who tried to stab Arn Anderson backstage. And I see Pinky running on the hamster wheel inside of Noah's brain there, trying to figure out what the worst is. Like me and Jeff keep saying, man, you're just going to have to tune in and find out. Nerf!
And for the record, JJ and I have talked about, going from 1 to 10 because of the reveal of number 10.
Yeah.
But I have thought about it, Jay, and honestly, I kind of agree with your number 1 now more than I did the one I threw out there. It should be number 1. So I think what we should do, just to mess with everybody, is do 2 through 9, then do 10, then do 1.
Okay.
Just to throw everybody off for the entire hour or so we're on the air.
The best and the worst. You're brilliant.
Because I'm evil some bitch like that.
Anyway. Yes, you are.
Agent of Chaos.
Wait, did you mention Mongo? It can't be Mongo. Mongo was funny.
You're just going to have to tune in, James.
Gotta wait and see Thursday night, brother.
Mongo was at least entertaining.
And then we'll be able to get your guys' thoughts when you come in for the pre-show on SummerSlam.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And then again, AJ said, man, I was so immediately gut reaction against this, and I am here for it. I am going to have so much fun Sunday night. And not only that, Dylan will be there with us. We're actually going to be pretty much where JJ's sitting right now watching the show and providing for the first time on my own network since WrestleMania 2 years ago, color commentary. So it'll be fun to have Noah and I as the team on a show that, as much as I immediately bucked against it, I can't think of anything. The only thing that'd be more appropriate for me to call would be Hulk Hogan's last show. But Hulk, do not take this as a suggestion. Do not put the tie-dye pants back on. Keep your ass at the club and on the boat. No Hulk, that's a bad Hulk. No,
I'm basically going to be like Paul at Noah's house for that show. I'm going to be sitting here in the same room while Jeff does his work, calling it, just sitting here. You'll probably see me on camera.
But what's so great about this show is it's not just Nate and Andrade versus Lethal and Jarrett. They've got a card where every major company, and matter of fact, Wikipedia is not a reliable source, and that's true, but
accurate.
It's actually being billed as the first show to feature participants from every major company since the 2000 Brian Pillman Memorial Show.
Wow.
Because you figure
Jay Lethal's
Incredible.
AEW contracted. And Jeff Jarrett is the WWE executive. So every company, WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling, MLW, New Japan, and independents around the world. Hell, the former Ring of Honor champion who lost championship tonight is in a Four Corners independent, for lack of a better term, wet dream match. So Lord is in on this show.
Yeah.
And God, it's only appropriate that the greatest of all time brings all these companies together.
That's fair.
All right. God damn it. I'll join. I can't. Put me on. Put me on.
Feel free to pop in JJ style and just do the,
Well, I mean, I have to if there's freaking matches of companies that Noah and I call together. I mean, it wouldn't be right.
We got the Wolves versus Motor City Machine Guns being called by Scott DeMoore. We got Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu being called by freaking Tom Flanagan. We got Jordan Grace defending the Knockouts Championship.
We might have to actually do a full-on revolving call this panel because
that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Have one match be me and Jeff calling it. Have the next match be James and Noah calling it. Have one match be Jeff and Noah. Have one match be me and James.
I could do that. I could set that up. I'll set that up. I'll take a look at the card and I'll set that up. Actually,
Well, two things. First of all, let me book my own channel. Number one. Number two. Thank you.
See, here's the thing. Buy the shirt.
Buy
the shirt. Not Rose Tees though. That's on the spring store. Number two. No, as much as I appreciate you, Ian's going to be calling this, and Scott DeMoore. No. You are going to be calling Josh Alexander versus Jacob Fatu. You are going to be calling the Knockout Championship match. You are calling Flair's last match. You are the man Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm just the man sitting next to the man on screen.
All right.
I'm just here to help you with a few matches, probably, and JJ too. That's what we're doing. That's how we do it.
But I did want to throw it out there really quick. I put out a tweet, but I did it directly to Kevin Nash. So if anybody didn't, I was so tickled I found this because Scott and Kevin and I talked about this particular piece of merchandise when I saw them back in September. I think it was almost a year ago that I saw Scott and Kevin. There was some really obscure WL merch in the 1990s, in 96 especially. There was just so much shit sold that you couldn't keep track of everything. But they were talking about that limited edition to 10,000 pieces pin set that the Outsiders put out. And they had the commercial for the whole thing. And I told Scott again at the time that I swore to God that I had lost it in the many moves. Well, it was in a box. I found it. So I'm not. The
preserved.
I mean, there's a big dent, but that crack was there a long time ago. The label on the one of the two of them is coming off a bit. I don't know if that's just from age or whatever, but it's still in the box. It's still numbered, and I hope Kevin sees it because I thought that was really cool. I found that for literally 26 years.
Nice.
So
that's cool.
With that being said, JJ asked me to close out, so I will. Thank you all for making this already the 5th most watched live stream we've ever done on this channel. I don't know about JJ's or James's or Noah's channel, but on my end, it's the 5th most watched we've ever done.
Yeah.
This is
I'd have to check. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, it's an incredible feeling to know that people care enough about the content that I put out and the content that we create together. I think that's so freaking cool. And I didn't say the F word, so I'm proud of myself. We did get the 17 tonight. That's a little crazy. Only 3 botches, though. I'm proud of us on that. And not one mention of the word, although it's going to happen now. Bang it! So there you go. None of those. So there's one now. But anyway.
There's enough of those in this pay-per-view tonight, though. I will say that. Good grief. Or yesterday, now that's not there on the East Coast.
That is... I've only watched a few Ring of Honor pay-per-views as they happened. A couple on demand. That was one of the best ones I've ever seen. And I'm glad we got to be a part of it. I'm glad you guys got to call it. That was really cool. And I'm glad that JJ got to do the moderating thing. I think we're going to stick with that. I like the fact that you moderated and it kind of gave me a break from having to control the flow of the show. I really appreciated that. So
you know what? If you want me to be the virtue of the Jeff Meacham Network, then I will take that reign.
JJ, I actually like JJ. Anyway.
I'm just saying, we compared Open Mic Night to our version of the review. Virtue moderates the review. If I'm going to be the official moderator of Open Mic Night from here on out, it's a comparison to be made. It is not an insult.
No.
I got nothing but respect for Virtue. I mean, him and Aaron have allowed me to come on to their review now when, as I know Jeff will tell you, 10, 12 years ago, the words JJ Williams and NoDQ.com were like as taboo as Chris Benoit within WWE.
Damn.
It's a real statement. So the fact that I've been able to come on and like we said, it's all but a guarantee that I'll be on again this Thursday so that we can promote the Horseman thing, so we can promote our coverage of SummerSlam.
And they got another Open Mic Night after SummerSlam.
Yeah. Only after SummerSlam this week, by the way, guys. Not after the Flair show. We all gotta get to bed.
Yeah, no.
Virtue
We're
doesn't
crazy,
like me, but it's okay.
We're crazy, but we're not stupid.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Shane Wells,
we'll
see you on the next. We'll see you on the next Open Mic Night for sure, brother.
Oh, please, yes, get on.
All the things. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful night. We'll see you. JJ and I will see you Monday. JJ will see you Monday twice, and then check out all the James's content that he mentioned. Noah's going to be every damn place all week, so don't mind him. If you turn on a predictions thing this week, you will see the Simple Man Noah Foster. So check that out. We'll see you guys next Saturday for SummerSlam, next Sunday for Ric Flair's last match, and then it's August. Man, this year's going by fast. Have a great night, everybody.